can't find no faith anywhere. Seems to been replaced with raging. Something's got to give. There won't be much life left to live. Please send a sign from up above. And if I gotta choose, I choose love. I choose love. I choose love. No one's gonna make me hate. I choose love. I choose love. No one's gonna take that away. No one can take that from me. I see what I choose to see. Reality is what you make it. So why would I ever choose hatred? I choose love. I choose love. No one's gonna make me hate. I choose love. I choose love. No one's gonna take that away. I choose love. I choose love. No one's gonna make me hate. I choose love. I choose love. And no one can take that away. I choose love.
Welcome to the Progressive Action TV show. We are back to discuss all these issues, man. This is like perfect timing. Before I get into this, because this show isn't about my opinion, this show is about the members' opinion. And I want to hear from you guys. Right? I mean, to tell you the truth, I should have promoted this. I should have, warned y'all that this type of live was coming. I want to give you guys, a second. If you're watching live, please share out the show. If you catching this on a rebroadcast, share out the show. Put a coworker on. Put this on in the crew room. You could, they got all these airplay things now. You could put it on the TV in the crew rooms. This is something that we need to be educated in, right? We need to have these discussions about our contracts, what's in the contracts, what's not in the contract, the truth about the contract. I'm going to be going through all of that today. I'm going to be going through every single part of this contract as far as the main tables is concerned. If people call in and they say, hey, Tramel, can you go to my department and let me know what does the language means for my department? That's what we're going to do. And as you can see, if y'all remember when I used to do these shows before, the telephone number has changed. It's now 563-999-3714. That is the number. Now, I don't know how long I'm gonna do the show. I scheduled to do this show for a while. I have a special brace on my leg right now, and I'm supposed to sit in it for as long as I can. So I don't know how long I'm gonna be sitting here, but I want to give the members a chance to ask questions about the contract. Let me know how you feel about the contract. I'm going to like never before. I'm going to be breaking down this contract left to right. We have been seeing videos of union reps, release reps, elected reps putting a false spin on our contract proposal. They only telling one part of the story. If you have been paying attention to my new segment called Where's the Lie, I mean, some of these reps is one or two things that they doing. It's either they are blatantly lying or they just don't understand what they read. They just don't understand what they reading. And I'm going to break down this contract. I want you guys to call in and ask questions. I want you guys to be educated. I want you to know what the truth is. And I would like to give a shout out to my team. You know, they have been very productive on the front line, giving out information. Chris Drummond, Nuke McLaurin, Jason Norris, they have been on the front line giving out this information to you guys. You know what I'm saying? So I want to give a shout out to them. I like to give a shout out to my boy Mark Blaze too. You know, he has been, you know, contacting me, and he's a smart, intelligent guy. I will be working with him in the future. But we're going to be talking about the contract, and this gonna be a dope show. This gonna be a dope show. I'm gonna give you guys a couple of seconds. You know, if you wanna go put some popcorn in the microwave, if you wanna make a quick phone call to put a coworker on and say, "Hey, Tremel going live. He's gonna talk about the contract." This is the show right here. This is going to be the show. So basically, once I go through my narrative of you know, the contract and things of that nature, then I'm gonna start taking phone calls. But I want to walk you guys through that part first. Let me fix this real quick. Let me get off of that. Let me see what's going on here. All right. How did I rectify that before? All right, let me do this. I cannot wait to hear from you guys. I'm real upset. I should have promoted this more. Let me get that off the screen real quick. I should have promoted this a little more. Instead of just popping up live on you guys. I'm trying to fix something real quick. All right, so let's go through this. Let's go through this. Let's get this popping. Let me see something. Let me see. All right, let's go. So, as you guys know, we have been bombarded with a whole bunch of hoopla, however way you want to pronounce it, regarding this contract, and they came out with a flyer that says highlights of your new contract for all TA, OA, and MTA bus members. And you know, they put it in gold, you know, the gold. Major economic and quality of life gains, solid annual raises, $4,000 in essential worker cash bonus payments, record-setting 3 months paid maternity leave. I can't wait to get into that part. No increase in healthcare costs, therapy for children with autism, and more. If you have a child with autism, I would like for you guys to call in, because I want to become more familiar with the issue there. I want to become more familiar with the issue there. So if you have any type of information regarding the autism part of our health insurance, please call into the show. So they put your executive board has overwhelmingly approved the new contract. Then they start highlighting some things. 9.8% compounded pay raise over the next 3-year contract. $4,000 in essential worker cash bonuses. Held the line on healthcare costs, no increase in payroll deductions. 12 weeks paid maternity leave, up from 2 weeks. 4 weeks paid paternity leave, up from 2 weeks. $4 articulated bus rate, up from $2. $2 million more a year to improve dental and vision coverage. Can't wait to cover that. $1,000 maintainer bonus, an increase of $350 from the current bonus. New medical coverage for therapy for autistic children. Medical coverage for COVID-19 widows, widowers, and children. MTA bus retirees get free MTA bus passes. Oh, man. Enhanced medical benefits for retirees. Bereavement time now covers grandparents, stepchildren, and grandchildren. Me Too clause on wages with Long Island Railroad and Metro North. I can't wait to talk on that either. And they keep going. Wage increases and essential worker lump sum cash payments, substantially better than the city pattern. Oh, that is such a lie. And you see the raises: 2023, 3%; 2024, 3%; 2025, 3.5%. What they claim that they defeated. We're going to touch on that. MTA give back demands defeated, including doubling of healthcare payroll deductions from 2% to 4%, eliminate conductor jobs with opto expansion, overtime only after 40 hours instead of after 8 hours per day defeated, reduced vacation for new hires, right? This is the stuff that they claim that they defeated, that they won. And I'm going to be quite honest with you. I do not care about what the city pattern is. We cannot continue to say that we are the largest transportation system in North America. We cannot continue to say that we are the most powerful union in the country. And we talking about following the leader, basically. Pattern bargaining. We should be setting the pattern, and that should be that. We should set the pattern and people should follow us, right? People should not be saying, oh, DC 37 or NYPD got this and these people got that. That's not how it should work. That's not how it should work. So this is the fun part. This is going to be the fun part right here. We're going to get into the contract, and we're going to go through it word for word, right? And like I said, I'm going to focus more on the main table issues, right? If people call in and they want to discuss their departmental issues, then we're going to do that. But for the most part, this is going to be for the main table issues. And as you can see, I have, my pointer. If you see my cursor on the screen, you can see my cursor moving around. I'm going to be pointing out certain things to you guys. And I'm going to go through this page by page, paragraph by paragraph, word for word. I need for you guys to understand what is in this contract, right? So Transport Workers Union Local 100 and Metropolitan Transportation Authority, New York City Transit Authority, Manhattan and Bronx Surface Transit Operating Authority, MTA Bus Company. The term of this contract is from May 16th, 2023 to May 15th, 2026. That is a term of 3 years. This contract is going to be for 3 years. The wages, the effective date of the increase, May 16th, 2023. The amount of the increase is 3%. May 16th, 2024, another 3%. May 16th, 2025, 3.5%. Now, look at these percentages we have, right? Now, I'm gonna go to some information that I think everybody should know. Right here, we got the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. This is where we find out what our inflation rate is, right? For our section, right? For our city, right? This is where we get that information from. And if you scroll down, I scroll down. If you look to where I'm scrolled right now, right? And if you see my cursor on the screen, 2021, see my cursor going around 2021, right? Look at these inflation percentages. So we ended in 2021 with a 4.4% inflation increase, right? 4.4%. And this was the actual full year of COVID. So we seen how COVID affected our inflation rate for New York, right? Then once you go to 2022, the numbers are very high. The lowest number for 2022 inflation rate wise was 5.1%, right? So now I want to go back to our wage increases, right? You see the 3%, 3.5% for the COVID, the 2021 to 2022 COVID years. For 1 year, for 2022 alone, it's 6%. Right now, granted, our contract was negotiated from 2019 to 2023, but from the looks of our future contract, the union failed to make up for our buying power for 2021 and 2022, right? They failed to make up for our buying power for those years. They have not made up for what we lost during COVID. I don't know if you guys could remember. Gas was up. Eggs went up. Regular groceries went up. Everything went up. And the union came back with 3% raises, right? Now, that's not the only thing. Let's look at what the city council, yes, our New York City Council, had to say about the forecast of the 2023 inflation rate. The forecast for the 2023 inflation rate for the United States is 4%, right? I'm going to highlight that for y'all guys right there. You see it right there. US 4% right there. For the New York metro area, 3.6%. The forecasted inflation rate for this year is 3.6%. Let's look at what they got us for this year right here. You see it. 3%. So even on the forecast, we are behind. And the union is well aware of the city council page, because they claim all these city council people are their friends. They give them my coat money and all this other stuff. At least they should know about it. Now, another important thing to point out about this city council budget, once again, about the city economy, right? The unemployment rate. The United States unemployment rate is 3.9%. The New York City employment rate is 6.1%. Well, Tramel, why are you bringing up the unemployment rate for New York City? It's simple economics, supply and demand, right? If people don't have money to buy things, right? If they are unemployed and they can't buy things, then in order for those businesses to cover their costs, they must raise the prices. So if the unemployment rate doesn't go down, then that means that it may contribute to a higher inflation rate, right? Now, not only that, I gotta hammer this in you guys' head. Once again, 3%, 3.5%. If you've been paying attention to anything that is going on in New York City as far as rents and things of that nature, the rent guidelines board passes preliminary first vote on New York City rent stabilized apartments. Now, I'm going to highlight this for you guys. The potential adjustment could increase rent 2 to 5% for 1 year leases and 4 to 7% for 2 year leases. You go back to our wages. If the rent goes up to 5%, we are behind anyway. But if our rent goes up to what this board is recommending, once again, right? Where's our buying power? just off of our rents going up, we are going to be in trouble with these wages, right? We're going to be in complete trouble with these raises. Um, the next thing I want to get into is what's next on the contract, the essential worker bonus, right? So now you got the reps. They are telling a whole bunch of lies. They are, trying to, they interpreting things that's not on the paper. And I'm going to give you guys a great example of that. So the essential worker bonus, within 60 days of the date of the full and final ratification of this agreement, each employee who is in active service with the MTA on the date of full and final ratification will receive an essential worker bonus of $3,000. And then they got a supplemental essential worker bonus. Each employee who is in active service with the MTA on October 31st, 2024, will receive a supplemental essential worker bonus of $1,000. This supplemental essential worker bonus will be paid within 30 days from the October 31st, 2024 eligibility date. Now, that's kind of like strange to me, right? So, first of all, you have reps going around saying that, hey, this is a hazard pay. If you work through the pandemic, you're going to get this pay. That is 100% false. Because if that was the case, what about the people that retired during COVID, right? Why aren't they getting this $3,000 essential worker bonus and then a supplemental essential worker bonus, right? So this is the problem with this, right? When you get this $3,000, people look at the big number. Oh, it's going to be $3,000. I need $3,000. About time it's taxed, you're going to be looking at least $1,700, right? $1,700, that's it, right? And then when you look at the supplemental essential worker bonus, you're going to get $1,000. Now, I don't understand how the union allowed the MTA to get away with this language. Let's pay attention to what it says. This supplemental essential worker bonus will be paid within 30 days from the October 31st, 2024 eligibility date. Why is the eligibility date for the supplemental insurance worker bonus October 31st, 2024, when our contract is due May 16th of every year that the term is, right? So the union allowed the MTA to move that date. What's that? May, June, July, August, September, 5 months away. They allowed the MTA to move that date 5 months away. And that also means if you retire between now and October 31st, that you're not going to get that pay. You're not going to get that extra $1,000. Now, why did the union allow the MTA to do that? First of all, that $4,000 should have came at one time. It should not have came in bits and pieces. So that was another sleight of hand. It should not. This supplemental essential worker bonus will be paid within 30 days from the October 31st eligibility date. Absolutely not. The eligibility date should be May 16th, 2024. They allowed the union to get away with this. Now, the dental and optical. The MTA will increase the contribution to the dental and optical fund by $4 per member per month. So what does that mean? There's about 40,000 members. You times $4 by 40,000, you get like 160,000. You do 160,000 by 12, you come close to 2 million. Now, I think there's like 42,000 members maybe in Local 100, somewhere around there. So that will be over $2 million. Now, how that is allocated, for some specialty stuff, this is not anything bad. This is not bad right here. I'm not saying that this is bad, right? And we're going to be truthful. Not everything in here is bad. Not everything is sleight of hand. Like, this is pretty much straightforward. The only thing we don't know is how that extra $2 million is going to be used. right? We don't know if now what they call that root canals go be covered. Are we going to get more for what you call that implants? Are we going to get better type of vision? I don't know what type of provision is going to be used exactly for, but I would love to hear what that's for. But this is not bad. The maintainer bonus will increase $1,000 per year. If you are a maintainer, this is not nothing bad for you. This is any type of increase for the specialty titles. I'm all for it. The only problem I have with this is that why is this on the main tables? I think that this should have been in the departmentals. Articulated bus differential. This is not a bad thing. The articulated bus differential will increase by $2, right? But once again, this should not be on the main table. This should be in the departmentals, right? Shift the differential. This is not a bad thing. Shift the differential will increase by $1, right? That's good, right? So now they will be getting $1.50. But once again, why is this on the main table? MTA bus retiree passes. All MTA bus retirees who retired from active service with the MTA will be entitled to retiree transportation passes on all MTA buses. This should not have been on the main table. This could have been a MTA bus departmental negotiation. It cost the MTA nothing. And if the union agreed to this on the main table, then what departments did they shun out? Who did they say you can't get something? Because we already got the proof that this don't cost them anything. That's why they gave us Long Island Railroad and Metro North when passes. But I don't understand why we have to choose one or the other. We should have both, right? COVID families. For the term of this agreement, the MTA will extend COVID family medical coverage to the families of deceased transit workers on the same terms as were provided pursuant to the recently expired COVID family medical coverage agreement. This is not bad right here. This is good. This is a main table issue right here. I agree with this. Employee recognition program. The union and the employers agree that the employers will implement a new employee recognition program to reward employees who have performed exceptionally in their service to the company. I don't understand why this have to be a contract demand. Any type of upright company should want to promote good morale. It has been proven. Good morale, good employees, great results. That's just how it works. Why would the MTA even want to make this a contract demand? But it shows you what type of company we truly work for. Recruitment and retention. The parties will create and jointly administer a recruitment and retention committee to evaluate hard to recruit titles and changing qualifications and skill sets due to the introduction of new technology. The goal of the committee is to make recommendations in these areas with the purpose of aiding the recruitment and retention of employees and developing skill sets of internal employees to improve the chance of promotion to higher level titles. Initial recommendations by the committee shall be made within 6 months of full and final ratification of this agreement. While the MTA commits to devoting resources to accomplish the recommendations of the Recruitment and Retention Committee, the committee's recommendations will be evaluated based on operational efficiency, overall cost impact, and the feasibility of implementation under civil service guidelines, right? Now, this is all sleight of hand. First of all, let me take this off the screen for a second. Let me take this off the screen, right? First of all, that's all sleight of hand, right? I want to point something out to you guys, and I want to bring this up. Let me see if I can find it. I know I have it somewhere, but that is all BS. First of all, I don't trust the union and committees. I don't trust their committees. They talk about, oh, these committees this, these committees that, and these committees never come to fruition. I've never seen a committee that benefits transit workers. Never, ever seen a committee that benefits transit workers. Let me see if I could get this to you guys. Let me see. Why isn't this? Let me see. This is very important, this picture. Let me go to my other phone. This is very important. Give me a second. Let me get this up there. Because I'm gonna show you guys how this is BS. This is straight BS. Let me get it. Where it's at. This is the sleight of hand that they be doing. This is the BS that they be pulling, that they be doing. All right, I think I'm close to it. I can't find it here for some reason. I got to pull this up. I have to pull this up. Oh, I ain't got it in this phone. All right, let me put it to this phone. But this is straight BS. They wanna put people in better chances of promotions, but then they pulling stunts like this one. Hold on, there we go. Bring this up for you guys. All right, let me get it to my computer. I should have honestly had this. I should have had this up already. But y'all, I just want to show you guys how BS they are. All right, let me bring this up. Let me put it here. That's one thing I like about live. Like, I could just adjust whatever I need to adjust. I don't need myself on the screen. I want you guys to see this. Look at this right here. Look at that. They talking about they want to help people, move into promotional titles. But look what they put out. Look at the advertisements they put out. Join the team that moves millions, right? The MTA is hiring superintendent of infrastructure. They want people to submit a resume from the outside, right? So, and they got these for different titles too. It's a matter of time before they start hiring bus superintendents from the street, RTO superintendents from the street. It's a matter of time before they start doing that, right? So how can they, and let's go back to that language. I want to go back to that language. I don't understand how we could even believe them for any of the stuff that they talking about, right? Let's go back to that language. Language is everything. You know what I'm saying? The goal of the committee is to make recommendations in these areas with the purpose of aiding the recruitment and retention of employees and developing the skill sets of internal employees to improve the chance of promotion to higher level titles. How can you do that with internal employees when you hiring bosses, managers from the street? Like, it makes absolutely no sense. The union failed for that one. And the union has been falling for a lot of this this foolery. Oh, this is a big one, people. This one right here. This is a big one. Maternity, paternity leave, right? Now, from the outset, this is a victory. And let's read it. Maternity, paternity leave will increase from 2 company paid weeks to 4 company paid weeks, including multiple births. In addition to maternity, paternity leave, birth mothers shall receive company paid recovery leave for the first 8 weeks following the birth of the children, which shall occur prior to paternity, maternity leave. All other rules and procedures currently in effect for the utilization of maternity, paternity leave shall continue to apply. The above benefits shall be available at no cost to members and in lieu of and satisfy the parties' prior agreement regarding New York State paid family leave. Like I said, from the outset, this is a no-brainer. People like this is 100% a great win, right? And for some of it, it is a win for people who's having babies, birthing mothers, or, that's the key word, birth mothers, right? And fathers, right? But let's look at the language, because everyone knows that contracts are about language, right? So it says birth mothers shall receive company paid recovery leave for the first 8 weeks. And they made it clear that this maternity leave is for birth mothers. I want you guys to pay attention to that, right? Because now, before I even get into that, I want you guys to look at the last paragraph. You see where the cursor is at. The above benefits shall be available at no cost to members and in lieu of and satisfy the parties' prior agreement regarding New York State paid family leave. Now, it specifically says in lieu of, right? There's a meaning behind that. Does anyone know what that means? In lieu of. It means in place of, right? So let's take out in lieu of and let's use in place of. The above benefits shall be available at no cost to members and are in place of and satisfy the parties' prior agreement regarding New York State paid family leave. That is a huge give back. Let's look at New York State paid family leave, right? Let me see something real quick. Let's look at that. Let's examine that. A nation leading paid family leave, and this is from New York State. Now, paid family leave provides eligible employees job-protected paid time off to bond with a newly born, adopted, or fostered child, care for a family member with a serious health condition, or assist loved ones when a spouse, domestic partner, child, or parent is deployed abroad in active military service. Let's look at what it says right here. Bond with a newly born, adopted, or fostered child, right? In this language, it says for a birthing mother, birth mothers. Well, what happened if you adopt? What happened if you foster a child? You don't get that, right? Care for a family member with a serious health condition, right? Now, people go say, well, you have FMLA for that and this and that. Why not have more protection, right? You get paid time off. You don't have to, with FMLA, there's, you only can use 60 days a year and you got to use up all your time. With this new agreement, you don't get that. Right? And it says assist loved ones when a spouse, domestic partner, child, or parent is deployed abroad on active military service. With this new agreement, you don't get that either. Right? Now, the union explanation for this and excuse for this is to say, hey, but with that plan, you have to pay into it, which is correct. Right? It's an employee funded plan, which means that whether you use it or not, whether this benefits you or not, you will have to pay for it. But with this maternity, paternity leave, it's safe for birth mothers. Where's the language to say if you adopt, if you foster a child? I don't understand why they specifically said birth mothers, right? And with the father part, the father get 8 weeks. The mothers get 12. I'm not going to, argue the time, right? Because women should get 12 weeks. They should get 16 weeks, right? Men, we don't give birth to babies. 8 weeks is enough time for us. But under the paid family leave, we would have gotten 12 weeks. I'm not arguing for us men, but the women should definitely get the time off. Now, what it does not say here, would this time be a straight 8? Would it be your run time, the same way how they calculate assault? We don't know how it's paid, right? So that's unclear. They need the benefit. They need to, explain that. And of course, the benefits is available at no cost to members because we basically got stripped of what true paid family leave is. So this last paragraph, once again, the above benefits shall be available at no cost to members and in lieu of, once again, in place of, and satisfy the parties' prior agreement regarding New York State paid family leave. So basically, the union exchanged maternity leave for the whole new benefit that New York State paid family leave got. They could have gotten something else in there for us, right? The truth is that we don't know the percentage or what's the percentage of pregnant women a year. How many women are actually going to benefit from this? I mean, it don't matter. One woman is enough. No, there should be true reasonable accommodations. And the next one, as you see, is reasonable accommodations. The parties will continue their efforts to discuss potential set aside work opportunities for pregnant women and those whose physical limitations preclude full duty. Now, the reason that the union, this is why I say that it's a loss, because instead of them getting the full paid family leave for us, right? Because once again, if we're powerful, if we this, we that, we the biggest transportation system in North America, we should have got that whole paid family leave and had the MTA fund that, right? Because the union cannot get the MTA to give true reasonable accommodations, because the truth is that the MTA do not respect women. And the fact that we are literally negotiating women's rights in 2023, because this ain't really for the man, the paternity leave. This is not really for the man. This is really for the woman, because you see company paid recovery leave for the first 8 weeks, right? This is for them, right? In 2023, we have a male-dominated union leadership who has never showed true respect to the women on the workforce as far as getting them the gains that they need. They just bargain them away, right? Instead of getting women reasonable accommodations and getting the MTA to respect women, like women been on this property for like almost 50 years or maybe a little bit over 50 years. They act like women fell out of the sky yesterday and don't know what to do with them. And the fact that the union cannot get the MTA to give reasonable accommodation, then we end up selling other parts of the contract, like this maternity, paternity leave, basically stripping New York paid family leave. That's basically what it is. And I ask any union rep to come on and challenge me on this, right? Let's look at this. Active employee and pre-Medicare retiree medical plan improvement. The medical plan for active employees and pre-Medicare retirees will include autism spectrum disorder coverage, no charge in active member medical contribution. This is a benefit, right? If you have an autistic child, I don't know what's going on with that. If someone can come on and explain to us, how does the medical coverage work with having an autistic child, please feel free to come to explain it. But I don't see this as being a bad thing at all. TWU enhanced retiree medical coverage commencing with open enrollment for the plan year beginning January 1st, 2024. Medicare eligible retirees will be entitled to enroll in either 2 TWU enhanced retiree benefits coverage. The plan of the benefits with both coverage options is attached as attachment A to this agreement and is incorporated herein. The parties agreed that the plan of benefits will not be a diminishment of benefits for Medicare eligible retirees. Let's go down to attachment A. And this is attachment A right here. The retirees are saying that they have lost an option, which is the traditional Medicare. And now they only have 2 options, which is the Aetna option 1 and the Aetna option 2. And, they claim that it's not they didn't diminish in their benefits, but they actually did. If you lost the option, you lost the option. And I would like for a retiree who actually used these benefits to come on and explain this one of these shows. If not this show, maybe another show. right? Um, where did we leave off at? Let's go up. But the TWU enhanced retiree medical coverage. If the retirees did lose the traditional Medicare, this is a big problem. This is a major problem. And do not think for 1 second that, oh, the retirees lost it. Guess what? You're going to be a retiree one day also. And if they hitting these retirees now and you got 10, 5, 10, 15 years to go, then guess what? Those benefits are going to diminish even more, right? So do not think that that does not affect you. It will affect you. Facilities and quality of life improvements pilot program. Now we know how pilot programs work, right? On a pilot basis, the parties will jointly select 5 employee work locations from throughout the system to undergo rehab and improvement. It is understood and agreed that the parties will work jointly with TA, OA, MTA bus management to identify particular locations and specific work that needs to be performed at each location. These locations will be identified on or before October 31st, 2023. The MTA will make legally compliant lactation facilities available at these identified locations, and the MTA and the union will continue to discuss and identify additional appropriate locations for lactation facilities. To the extent possible, the MTA will utilize in-house forces to perform the work. A number of issues were raised during various bargaining sessions regarding the quality of uniforms. A representative of the company and a representative of the union will meet within 30 days of the full and final ratification to continue the work of the uniform committee to address issues related to the uniforms. Once again, one of our major problems here in Local 100 are these committees, right? The union administration do not hold the MTA to these committees. We end up with a committee contract and then nothing never happens, right? But when you look at this, the meat and potatoes of the facilities and quality of life improvements pilot program, they are only focused. I mean, I don't even understand that I don't understand why they just getting these lactation devices facilities up. We go through this almost every contract about a improvement of our facilities and nothing ever happens. Right? Nothing ever happens. If this goes through, is it really a win? Why we have to ask the employer to treat us with dignity and respect? Have you ever been to 2 Broadway and went upstairs and used those bathrooms there? Have you ever went to 130 Livingston, going to the bathroom and they have air quality test meters at 130 Livingston? But then you go into our crew quarters, they dirty, they don't have soap, they don't have tissue, it's floods, toilets backed up, towels falling off the walls, there's leaks, there's water bugs, there's roaches, there's a lot of things. I don't understand why is this in the contract and this is only a pilot program. This should be a program that should be flying all the time, right? But the MTA and the bosses, they do not care of the conditions that we work in. They do not care of the conditions that we work in. Union member communications. The MTA will provide the union with reasonable access and permission to install union purchased television monitors with Wi-Fi or internet access at all places where union bulletin boards are currently located or at other appropriate locations to assist in union or member communications consistent with existing policy. If you work at Bedford Park, if you go upstairs, they have televisions upstairs for the MTA. The union want the same thing. Why is this in the contract? I have no idea why, but we got to remember whatever's in the contract, like the union say, they love to say this. Everything is give and take. They got a lot of stuff in this contract that don't belong in this contract. And I'm really wonder what did they give up to get some of these things in the contract. Expanded bereavement leave. Expand bereavement leave eligible relationships to include grandchildren, grandparents, and stepchildren were not already included. I really don't understand this one. My grandfather had passed away. I took bereavement leave. And that was that. They didn't even, I got the 3 days. I don't even know why is this in the contract, right? This is another thing that should not have been in the contract. Other provisions for the and to add on top of that, I've known of other people who lost grandparents and took the 3 day bereavement, and stepchildren and grandchildren and took 3 days. I don't, like I said, once again, I don't understand why is this in the contract. Other provisions for the duration of this agreement, in the event any of the employees of the Long Island Railroad Metro North reach an agreement or through binding arbitration, providing for general wage increases greater than those provided herein to another bargaining unit, this agreement shall open. Right? This is BS. Right? This is BS. You got union reps out there saying, oh, if Long Island Railroad get a higher raise, then we automatically get it. That's not how this works. It says it right here. The agreement, you see me highlighting it with my cursor. Agreement shall reopen. It doesn't say you get anything automatically. It just say we could go back to the table and discuss this, but that's about it. That's all that can happen. Nothing else. Right? Nothing else can happen. That's it. Availability gain sharing. Now I'm going to tie this to other things also, because we must pay attention to this sleight of hand. For the term of this agreement, the parties commit to achieving an average employee availability improvement of 5 days. Current availability is 196 days. Once the availability reaches 201 days, the parties will implement gain sharing of any additional improvement agreed to by the parties as a 50-50 basis, which may include an enhanced sick leave cash out for those whose good attendance is to be rewarded. Within 60 days of full and final ratification of this agreement, the parties will convene to discuss gain sharing options that can be implemented once the employee availability goal is reached. Now, the problem with this is that the reason the union don't have anything regarding workers' comp, anything regarding getting vacation faster, anything about getting mental health days, is because they are in the business. Yes, your union reps is in the business of making sure you come to work, because they end up splitting some type of profit, because that's what it is. This is about profit. They get to split some type of profit with the MTA, and guess what? By you coming to work, you don't get any type of benefit. The union get the benefit. And we know what the union do with our money. I'm going to explain that to you guys in a few, right? But none of the money, extra money that the union get benefits us. They do the bare minimum for us workers. This is a fact. They do the bare minimum for us workers. So the union is in the business of making sure that your behind comes to work. They not in the business of making sure that you're not at work, or making sure that you spend quality time with your family, right? They are in the business of making sure that you come to work because they get something out of it. Now, let me see. I'm not going to get into the departmental agreements unless you guys want me to, right? And if you want me to, you will have to call into the show. You will have to call into the show and ask me specifically about your departmental agreements, right? But there are major issues with this contract, right? I fully explained the wages. The wages do not cover inflation. It it does not cover the forecasted inflation moving forward monetarily for the whole entire union. This is a major L, and this is why a lot of people are saying that they want to vote no. Right? This is one of the main reasons why people are saying that they want to vote no, is because of those wages and terms, and like the essential worker bonus. Let me explain to you guys like the sleight of hand that some of these reps are saying. Check, and this is a rep from CED, division chair. His name is Matthew Ahern. I want to play you guys what he said.
An essential worker bonus, right? That's the bonus, the money that we are receiving for working through the pandemic, right? We all worked through the pandemic. People got sick. We know we lost a large number of people. One is too many. We lost a tremendous amount. So we got $4,000 per member in essential worker money. It will be paid out $3,000 in the first year and $1,000 in the second year of the contract. Now
that is a complete lie. That is a complete lie. Because once again, as you can see, this is not for the people who worked through the pandemic, because if it was, then retirees would have been getting it. Retirees are not getting it, and they trying to frame it as a sort of hazard pay. It's not a hazard pay at all, right? It is not a hazard pay at all. And you know, they have been playing this sleight of hand with the members, right? They have been playing a sleight of hand with the members. And hold on one second. Yeah, they've been playing a sleight of hand with the members, and they think that they're slick. I want to play something for you guys. Let me put this on the screen. I want to play another rep. I think this came out today, but I want to play this. I want to put this on the screen. I hope it played for you guys. Let me see. Let me just get it up. Let me see. Let me play it.
Chief Shop Steward of Manhattanville Depot.
Can you tell me how you feel about the tentative contract?
I feel very good about it. It's a good contract, one that contains within it things aside from a monetary increase that's going to add value to our life and add value to our work-life experience, such as the increased shifter pay, the increased RTIC pay, the additional benefits or time for parents when they have a child, and a host of other things, in addition to holding the line against any kind of givebacks, which is always the most important thing. You don't want to give back something that you already have. And as we've been able to hold the line sufficiently on that, and looking out for our retiree brothers and sisters who are going to now, according to what I'm being told, have additional and a better plan as retirees, which hopefully next year I will be one myself.
Good for you.
And so, you know, I think it's a very good contract. I want to commend our president and our executive leadership team on attaining this for us. And when you evaluate the contract, don't just look at the money. And there's no contract that's ever going to repay us what we deserve for working through COVID. There's no amount of money that's ever going to compensate us adequately for that. However, considering what we are dealing with on a daily basis, considering that we've got benefits that are additional to the monetary increase, this is a good contract. Terrence Lane, I'm the chief.
I need my get the F out of here button. I definitely need my get the F out of here button. I mean, he's saying that money isn't everything. I mean, try telling that to your landlord. You know, he's saying that there was no give backs. Oh, there absolutely was a give back. Do not think that because you don't see it on that paper and they disguise it. Us getting 3%, and 3.5% was a give back. It was a give back because the inflation rate itself states a whole nother story. I mean, the wages alone should make people want to say this is not a good contract, right? This is not good. We deserve better, and the union needs to do better. Now the problem is that the people are not stupid. The people know that this Local 100 administration is Richard Davis led administration, did not fight for us. Did not fight for us. Right? And what we're essentially doing, if you decide to vote no, you telling your union leadership, go out there and get something better for us. You ever been into a situation as a child, got into a fight as a child, and your parent there watching, and your parent be like, you better go back out there and kick some butt, or you go get your butt beat when you get home, right? That's it. That's essentially what this is. We are telling our union reps, like, yo, go out there and get something better for us, right? Go out there and actually kick some behind. Because what we seeing right now, we seeing our union reps, right? We gotta believe our lying. We gotta believe our eyes. Our eyes are not lying to us. It's obvious that they are not fighting for us. I've heard plenty of rumors that if Richie Davis didn't get this position, he was gonna go to superintendent. Right? We see people inside the union now who retired as superintendents and working for Local 100. Right? They have a management bone in their body. You probably could build a skeleton with the management bones that they have in their body. So of course they're going to make favorable deals with management, right? And then also you have a lot of the reps going around saying, oh, you know, you don't want to go out there and go to arbitration and, you know, arbitration this and arbitration that. You know, they always want to talk about the bad with the arbitration. You know, you could go into arbitration and get something less than what you got, right? Like, that tactic don't work, right? Because let me bring this up. Let me bring this up. And if anybody want to call in, you can start calling in now. You know, we could start having these conversations. You could let me know how you feel about the contract. So this arbitration award was from 2009, right? They came to an impasse. It went to an arbitrator. And, you know, the arbitrator was like, nah, we got to fix this, right? So I'm going to point out some things in this arbitration where I'm going to explain how it works and why the MTA can pay us. I explained this in the video earlier this week, but I'm going to explain it again since we are live, right? And I want us to understand what is going on here, right? So, and I'm going to point out the meat and potatoes. Wait, hold on one second. I want to point something to you guys, right? And we in the same predicament right now. So that the MTA offered the union annual wage increases of 3.25% over a 3-year period. So they want us to get 3% raises over a 3-year period, right? And it says December 6, 2008, the MTA retracted its original wage offer and replaced it with a 1.7% wage increase for 2009, right? So we're going to remember that. In 2009, it was 1.7, right? So in this contract, it's obvious that the MTA was playing hardball. Imagine them saying that for 3 years, we want to give you a total of 3.25% over a 3-year period, right? They are obviously playing hardball. And let me put something in perspective with you guys. 2008, 2009, we were in a recession. We were in a recession. This information I'm about to give to you guys is very, very important. or say somebody said that there's no show schedule. I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna fix that in a second. I'm gonna fix that in a second. I'm gonna let y'all know when to call in again. Let me see something. So the MTA played hardball and they said we gonna give you 1.7%, right? So I'm quite sure during that time, if this was, well, Roger Toussaint was the president at one time. So I know Roger Toussaint held the line. Roger Toussaint was like, hey, look, we not taking no 1.7% or 3.5% over 3 years. You got to be out of your mind. See, if it was the Samuelson administration, that would have been the case, right? If it was the Samuelson administration, that definitely would have been the case. Hold on one second. I'm trying to get the phone back up. Let me see. Yeah, so if this was the Samuelson administration, they would have did the same thing that Richie Davis and them did. Oh, hold on, I'm getting the phone lines back up. Hold on, y'all. Let me get this back up. Yeah, so as you can see, that 1.47.
Your show now, press 1 to hear important.
Your show is scheduled to start in 14 seconds.
All right, so in 14 seconds, you guys could start calling back in.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right. That's
Blog
that.
Talk Radio.
That's that. We are you the phone lines are open. The phone lines is open. You could call in. But let me finish breaking down this arbitration award. So they was trying to give us 3.5% over 3 years. Then the MTA tried to come back with this 1.47 in 2009. The union was like, absolutely not. They was trying to get Opto, as you can see right there. You know, Opto, the union, the MTA has been trying to get Opto for a very long time. So when the union comes back with, let me go to this real quick. When the union comes back, we defeated Opto. That's a common talking point with the MTA. That's a common talking point with the MTA, right? So let me go back. Callers, I see you, callers. Let me finish explaining this. I'm going to get to you guys. So let me go back to what the arbitrator with. Now, keep in mind, the MTA wanted 3.25 over 3 years. This is what the arbitrator gave us. The arbitrator gave us 4% from April 16th to October 16th, 2009. They gave us another 4% from April 16th to October 16th, 2010. And then they gave us 3%, right? And then they added the other stuff, and it came up to 11.7%. But picture that. The MTA wanted to give us 3.25% over 3 years. And then they came back with this 1.47 in 2009. And the arbitrator said, absolutely not. These are the raises that they deserve. Right? And then how did the arbitrator come up with that? Right? I'm going to show y'all a section. Cost of living. You see that, right? Cost of living. The panel also considered changes in the average consumer prices for goods and services, commonly known as the cost of living. Experts are forecasting inflation rates around 2%. The MTA's economic advisor, Global Insight, predicts its inflationary growth of 2.94% in 2009. They got the 2009 Philadelphia Survey of Professional Forecasters predicts inflation rates of 2.2% to 2.5%. And the Wall Street Journal Forecasting Survey 2009 indicates 95% of forecasters expect CPI inflation in 2009 to be 2.4% or lower, right? Given these forecasts, the panel has determined that the staggered wage increases of 2% and 2% in 2009 and 2010 along with the 3% wage increase in 2011, would sufficiently allow union employees to maintain their standards of living. Imagine that. Imagine that. You got to go to an arbitrator to get your cost of living increased. Why is this union afraid to go to arbitration? Right? Roger Toussaint wasn't afraid to go to arbitration. Let's look at the other factors. The other factors, they explain the pattern bargaining of the other unions, right? They brought up DC 37. They brought up the PBA, which is police officers. They brought up correction officers. They brought up Uniform Firefighters Association, right? All of these unions got at least 4%. Now, as it stands right now, DC 37 raise was better than ours. They did better than us in the pandemic. Check their percentages, right? The police officers, they did better than us. They got actually 4% in their contract. They're 3.5% for the same term that we got. So if we were to go to arbitration right now, guess what would happen? They will be pattern bargaining with other agencies that are doing better than us monetarily for the contract. Now, another part of the arbitration award is the MTA ability to pay. In considering the impact of the panel's award on the financial ability of the public employer to pay on the present fares and on the continued provision of services to the public, this panel points to the state's financial assistance package that was passed on May 7th, 2009. This package includes a payroll mobility tax that is expected to generate approximately $1.5 million. Let me take that back. $1.5 billion in each of the next 2 fiscal years, as well as other taxes and fees expected to generate $83 million in 2009 and $250 million in each subsequent year. This package also prohibits the MTA from implementing additional fare increases or service cuts for the next 2 years. Roger Toussaint Union argued, we got to be clear, this is not a Stand United ideology. This was a Roger Toussaint Union at the time. Argued that the net effect of the state's financial assistance package is a budget surplus of $320 million, $219 million, $346 million, which is more than sufficient to cover the projected cost of system-wide wage increases. The MTA disagrees and instead argues that there will be a budget shortfall. The disagreement centers on the parties' differing forecasts for reduced projected revenues in 2009 and 2010, whereas the union projects expected revenues to be down by $400 million and $200 million. The MTA projects revenues to be down by $670 million and $732 million. The result of this $802 million variation in reduced revenue projections is that the union argues the MTA has more than sufficient funds to cover wage increases, while the MTA contends that it has no such funds and is in fact in the red. While the panel recognizes that the current economic climate is unprecedented, because once again it was a recession, and therefore unpredictable, the panel finds that even if the MTA does in fact face a budget deficit, the MTA still possesses the ability to pay. Lord, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my Lord, man. Oh my Lord. Why are they trying to bamboozle us? Why are they trying to bamboozle us? I need y'all to call in. I'm gonna pull one more thing up on the screen. I gotta put one more thing up on the screen. Cause they want to see, do the MTA have the can they pay us? And I'm gonna show you guys that they can pay us. I don't know where I got that from. I have to find that. But let me take this caller. Let's get these calls rolling. Caller 1173.
Hey, what's up, Brother Tramel? How you holding up?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I jumped on a little late, you know what I'm saying? But I mean,
hold on.
It really sucks.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
Oh, this is Brother Leonard from New York City.
My brother Leonard, what's going on? What's on your mind, man? Let's talk this talk.
Ain't nothing much, man. You talk about it's not about the money. I mean, you look at how much it costs just to live in New York. I'm gonna run some numbers real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You take buying and renting, it's 81% higher than any other state to purchase or rent in New York. Utilities 2% higher, food percent 13% higher, healthcare 3% higher, transportation 2% higher, goods and services 12% higher than any other states. Now, you look at the cost of living, just the jump is double percent. It's like 16%, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how you gonna get single digit raises and then talk about it's not about the money? It's like they did this contract on a BOGO offer. You go and you buy a set of pots and pans, and then they throw in some dishes. But then in Christmas time, they come with the pots and pans and then wrap each of the dishes up separately, and you think you got a whole lot of gifts. But it ain't cost them nothing. You understand? So like you was talking about, all the stuff they was given that don't cost them nothing, like riding for free on other transportation, like Long Island Railroad or Metro North or whatever. You know, that departmental stuff, that's nothing but fluff. You know what I'm saying? All this stuff is smoke and mirrors. It's all about the money. Every time they talk about doing something or improving something, the first thing they want to know is they want you to know is how we going to pay for this. If it's not costing you nothing, then you ain't paying for nothing. Now, as far as improvements on facilities and workplaces and program and things for women, I mean, look at what the CEOs and the CFOs are getting for their families and their loved ones and their bereavement and all that other stuff. It should be just as fair for the working class than it is for the executive class. You understand? So everybody should vote no. This should be voted down, and it should go to arbitration. And then anything else that's in the doggone collective bargaining agreement that's in this contract that they're trying to push through, that doesn't fall under what they should either fight and get. First of all, there should have been a think tank put together to say what we deserve. Okay, go get what we deserve first, right? And then after that, the think tank will say, well, we want this or we want that or we want this or we need that or we need this, and then go into fight mode. I keep telling you, this is all about war. You understand? You shouldn't have to go to work to go use the facilities to where it is rodents and damage and leakage and hazards and everything else. That falls on the federal side of clean air and water. What about hazards and safety? All that stuff should be litigated. And litigation, the magistrate should deem what they are going to fix and what they have to fix mandatory under the law. But then that only would raise higher morality. Now, you go to a place where you could sit down and you could enjoy your lunch and your breaks, and you're in a place where you could be comfortable and you could feel safe, then that's going to bring up productivity. But the fact of the matter is, these union reps, they're not in the trenches. You understand? They go, they spending your dues, they're having these parties. You think they in there fighting for you. They're not fighting for you. They waiting for the doggone meeting to be over so they can go and hang out and they can party. Okay? Hold them to the line. Only the members can hold them to the line. We voted you in. Either you're going to do this, that, or the other thing, or this is your last term. If you're not fighting for me, then what you're doing actually is you're hurting me. With that, that's all I got to say. You know what I'm saying? If you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything.
There we go. I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for calling in.
All right, peace.
All right. So there we go, right? Let me take the next caller. Let me get to these callers. Caller 7027, you now live on Progressive Action TV. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Tramel, it's Charlie Muniz here.
What up? What up, Munez? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Let me just point out a couple of things. COLA for Social Security in 2023 is 8.7%. Okay, so they're way ahead of the game. I mean, look at us with 3%. I mean, how do you compare? Doesn't make any sense. The other thing is that $2 million that additional that they're putting into dental and vision, well, that comes out to about $45 per person per year. So that's not much of a difference. I mean, really, this is insane. The other thing is that stations, the only thing we got was one pair of boots for 2024. That's it. That's all we had. Departmental, that's all we had that's all they gave us. So are we worth just another pair of boots? I mean, that's why I'm voting no for this contract. This contract is lousy. These people don't give a shit about us. During the pandemic, I mean, I caught COVID 4 times. 3 times while down there. 1 time at my sister's funeral. But, I mean, one time it almost killed me. And you had COVID, too. So you know exactly what we went through. And it's just not fair that we're getting this. And Richie Davis, he's useless. Robert Kelly is another one. Lindenwood Richard, thank God he retired because he was horrible. These guys just got to go. I mean, we got to vote no. We got to take a stand and vote no. That's all I have to say.
I agree with you. Thanks for calling in, bro. Now, before I get to the next caller, right? I want to show you guys the MTA ability to pay, because this narrative that they are using to try to scare people to go from going to arbitration. I'm gonna get to the next callers in a few. Let me explain this real quick. The MTA just got $400 million in operating efficiencies to reduce expenses and improve service to customers. The payroll mobility tax, the same payroll mobility tax that the arbitrator used to determine our raises, was $1.1 billion annually they getting from that, right? There's a lot of new money in here. They getting money from the casinos, right? Let me see. 15 million to fund a pilot program providing fare free service bus routes in New York City. Dedicating 1.5 billion in licensing fees if 3 downstate casino licenses are awarded, and a share of an estimated 231 to 413 million. The bottom line that I'm trying to make here is that the MTA is swimming in money. They swimming in money. They have the ability to pay us. It's just that our leadership in this union, Richie Davis and his crew, do not have the ability to fight. Let's get to the next caller. Caller 5947, you now live on Progressive Action TV. What's your name? Where you calling from? $5947, speaking to you. Last 4 digits of your number.
Oh, yes. Yeah, hi, Chema. This is Daniel. I'm a B Division train operator.
How you doing, Dan? You B Division train operator. What's on your mind regarding this contract?
Just one thing about the therapy for autistic children. I brought this up during the April train operator meeting. It actually goes into the dental too. Like, that's one good thing about this contract, because you know, I am a father of a autistic child, and with his District 75 a public school, they offer therapy, which is PT, OT, and speech. But if they need more for therapy, it could get expensive on the outside.
So let me ask you.
And also,
let me ask you, because I'm not too familiar with that, and I'm glad that you called, first of all, so you can explain it to us. So basically, outside of, because I worked in the District 75 school before, so outside of the services that's provided in the District 75 school, if they need extra services and you try to go out of it, the health insurance as it stands now do not cover it, correct?
Right.
Now, what kind of services?
As well as
what kind of services would you be looking to get your child outside of the school that you would want covered?
Well, pretty much the services that I need, they offer it in the school, which is the occupational therapy, the physical therapy, as well as the speech. my situation was regarding the dental. I explained to them that most children with special needs that they may need to go to a specialist, the dentist. I explained to them that the HealthPlex, the dental, like they don't even take that at all. And as far as the Aetna, they do take it, but it's going to be out of network, which they explained to me. Depending on what they need to do, it could go from between $150 to $600 out of pocket.
Got you. So in the contract, it says that it would include autism spectrum disorder coverage. What is covered under that? Because I don't know what that is.
It could be in a range. It could be a variety of things because every autistic child is different. They may not need all the same things. For one, I'm happy that my son gets that through his school. But for any other workers out there, they may need specific things. So they didn't get into too much what it covers, but hopefully it covers everything.
So you would think that it would cover at least the dental, at least because you said that that will affect your child. I guess it should.
Yes, it should. Yeah, it should. Well, hopefully it does.
See that now that's the thing, right? See, that's the part that I don't understand is that when they say autism spectrum disorder coverage, does that cover everything that an autistic child may face? Like you said, some autistic children have to go to a specific dentist because every dentist don't take autistic children, right? So we not even sure what this autism spectrum disorder coverage really covers, right? Because what if it really covers what if it covers something that your child's school already does? Then this will be no benefit for you.
Well, if it covers something already does, they may need more than what the school is offers. Remember, school is only but so much hours.
Got you.
So maybe they need an outside person to do the same therapy, like let's say on the weekends.
Got you. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. But for right now, we don't know what it really covers. So it's like, in your case, you have an autistic child. You are hoping that it covers what you need it to cover for. And I'm quite sure other parents of autistic children is hoping the same thing.
Yes, because I took my child to a regular dentist one time, and I tell you, he had to say he wouldn't let them touch his teeth or anything. Like, I had to physically hold him down so they could, do what they need to do with his teeth. Now, the specialty ones, they specialize in sedation, not to calm them down, not put them all the way to sleep.
Gotcha.
Or some kids may need to be put to sleep just so they can take care of their teeth.
Got you. This is some valuable, interesting information. Let me ask you: did you contact the union rep to ask them what does it really cover?
I didn't call them yet. I was going to bring it up again at this month's train operator meeting because I go to those regularly.
All right. So when you find out that information, I want you to come back to the show and tell us what it covers exactly.
Right.
And I'm quite sure they listening to the show and they're gonna have an answer for you when you go. But I would like to know what it covers exactly. I wish we could get an answer before we sign. We say yes or no to this contract.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because if you do have to come out of pocket, do you feel that the wage increases is enough to cover that?
With what's going on right now, with everything going up, inflation, gas, food, I don't think so. It could be a little bit better than what's being offered.
What would you say would be a fair wage increase in your opinion?
About at least per year.
All right, that's fair. I agree with that number wholeheartedly. Anything else on your mind?
No, that's pretty much it. That's what I called for specifically. I know you asked, if anybody has, autistic kids, come and explain. That's why I made the call.
I appreciate you. Thanks for enlightening me and educating me on that. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you and meeting you in the future.
Actually, you did. I worked with you a couple of times on Quebec. You probably don't remember me.
I probably got CFA. Was I?
Yeah, I was your train operator.
Was I a good conductor?
Yes, he was.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, sure. Gotcha.
See, I'm glad that he called in and explained the autism thing to me. But the fact of the matter is that he has an autistic child and he doesn't even know what this stuff covers exactly. And that's what I'm talking about. There's too many holes in this contract. And when they tell him what it covers, I hope they give him some type of document. I don't want them to tell him verbally. I want them to give him some type of document. You know what I'm saying? Let's get to the next caller. Listen, I need you guys to call in. This is the show. You ask me the questions that you need to be asked for this contract. If you confused about a certain part of the contract or you want to know about a particular part of the contract, this is the show that you do it on. This is the show. This is what the union should be doing. They should have live call in. The president should sit down at his nice desk in his office. Get his social media people together and take live questions from the members. I don't understand why they can't do that. Let's get to the next caller. I hope this is it. Caller 8475.
Hey, good evening.
Hey,
good evening, my brother. How are you?
This my brother?
This is Alexander Kemp. What's happening?
You tell me what's going on.
Ain't nothing. One of those days, like every day. But I see, there's a lot of questions. There's no member should go without answers before they ever have to vote on anything. I know there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of mixed messages. There's a lot of uncertainty or questions about the process of how we got to this point today. So I just think it's responsible for me to make sure that I'm present in any conversation that has to do with any vote that I had taken or anything that I represented.
Because just to be clear, you did vote yes for the contract. Because you're an e-board member.
Yes, to present the contract to the members. Yes.
What does that mean?
Right? Because as a member, no, very clear. Because I still would have to vote on the contract as an individual employee, right? I still get to vote on the contract for myself, right? But as an e-board member, what that means is, because I see there's some questions. So basically, however many people make up the e-board, there's 54 people, I believe, in this session. I think that day there were 44 people present. Some people were on vacation. Some people weren't around that day. And then you get presented with the contract to look over or to read over, highlights mainly, right? And determine how those things, or if you believe that the members should be presented with that contract so that they can vote on it, whether to accept it or not. Now, there is a greater responsibility for the e-board. I think that needs to be made clear, that the e-board do represent each department. So you have, for instance, TA Surface, we have 4 representatives on the e-board. You also have some from maintenance in TA Surface as well. I believe it's Danny Ascona, who's the division chair for maintenance in TA Surface. But the standard is higher for the e-board because the people elect you to represent their interests. So it can be suggested that if the e-board votes yes for something to present it to the members, that is in essence a cosign. And because the people might have a certain amount of reverence for their representatives, they can take that as you endorsing it. And in many cases, it could be true. In other instances, it might not. It would depend on what they were actually suggesting or bringing forth without context, right? I think it's harder to say anything without context. So I think it's important that you have these conversations and give as much information and be honest, right? I think you have to be honest with what you like. I think you have to be honest with what you don't like. And I think you have to be honest about how it affects every individual, because not one size fits all. Everybody has unique things. As you can hear, some people like ABAs. Some people have very specific needs in their life. And, you know, to be honest about it is that you'll probably never get a contract that will ever meet every need. But there are components that are usually the standard, which is the wages and health. And then the other components are individually sorted, right? That's why you have departmentals.
Okay. So you meant so let me ask you a question. How what's the feedback with you in the field and your constituents regarding the contract?
It's mixed, depending based on what depot you go to, depending on the age of the operator, depending on the amount of time the operator has on the job. I will say there are a lot of people who are very angry. And then there's other people who are not. There are some people who are medium, right? They said that the contract is very vanilla, right? That if you couldn't buy a house yesterday, that you're not going to buy one tomorrow from this contract, right? If your quality of life was struggling yesterday, then tomorrow this contract will not change that.
Are you surprised?
So,
are you surprised about, especially in buses? Because I feel personally that this contract was for buses, maintainers, the shifter pay. I mean, the Arctic. It seemed like certain things in here was geared towards buses. Are you surprised of the people who's not happy with the contract? Like, you're not thinking like, yo, you're about to get extra $2 for Arctic. Like, what's your feeling about that? Like,
no, well, true. If you don't drive an Arctic, right, I wouldn't see you feeling happy about it, right? Because then you're left with the wages and you're left with the bonus, right? And to some people, that's a slap in the face. What I do find the resounding sentiment is just that this contract doesn't reflect the sacrifices people had to endure during COVID. And I think that is a very, very personal thing that people really felt coming out of COVID, knowing what we suffered through, that there had to be light at the end of that tunnel. And I don't think they feel as if this contract gave them that light. And it hurts. It really hurts. And then it becomes, well, then where are the campfires? Where are the buildings burning? Where is all of this vigor to say to the people who gave so little to us that we matter more? And I think that feeling is pretty much what you're seeing now, resoundingly. Because each person you speak to will have a different reason. Some people will say, I knew we weren't getting more. Other people will say, well, listen, better than I thought. Other people will say it's horrible in the department, right? And speaking to them just in the thing. But I do want to say, though, right, I do want to add, because I see a lot of people suggest that we kind of just voted yes blindly, and that, the reasons why, anyone voted is just kind of like a blanket yes in support of selling the members out. And I just have to say that personally, I take offense to it. But it's okay. I'm elected to not be offended, but to be offended, right? My skin has to be thicker than everybody else's, right? I don't mind it. I absolutely am accountable to anyone who disagrees with why I made the decision to present this to the membership, right? And I am accountable to those people to answer and stand on whatever I did. I don't believe that, hiding until this plays itself out is responsible. I don't think it's respectful.
and I'm more than willing to be accountable. We did have, prior to the e-board meeting, about an hour-long meeting amongst our division with the people on the e-board who represent the division. We had the vice president there, who's JP. We had Danny Ascono, who was in maintenance, and the other 4 e-board members, as well as a couple of other reps from TA Surface who weren't on the e-board. And we were going through things that we believed might be present when we were presented with the contract downstairs. And we had a couple of sticking points and things that we believed would be reasonable enough to present to the members in the event that those things were present in the contract. So a lot of the things that we just reflected on, the goodies per se for buses, most of those were departmentals, right? And to anybody who doesn't know what a departmental is, the departmentals are basically what the members give us to go fight for during or before the contract negotiations start. You know, that 90 days prior to 65 days prior. So pretty much from February up until the date of the contract, all of these demands people were bringing to the union meetings. They were given to their chairs. They were talking about them online. They were presenting them to their reps as we were going around doing shop gates. And there were a lot of things that we felt we had to fight for in our departmentals, because in the event that the wages might have felt short, we felt that we had to find some more money from the Transit Authority and get it put into our department. And I believe every department went into negotiations that way, right? When we all collectively had our executive board meeting, or executive committee meetings before the contract, and we all had to bring our demands to the union hall and then separate them and isolate them down to 15, which were the most pertinent ones. Every department had their specific demands and ways that they can try to get money out of the contract into their department in the event that the wages didn't meet that benchmark. So one of those things obviously was RTICs, right? We wanted more money for RTICs. We wanted hazard pay, right? We wanted maternity. We wanted reasonable accommodations. These were all departmentals, right? Now, granted, they might have been represented by every department, might have had a lot of similar asks, but these were things that were very, very important to our membership, the people in TA Surface. So when we had these demands and we go and we put them on the table and we present them to the main table or to the union as these are the things we're going to negotiate in departmentals, when we had meetings, contract meetings with the MTA, we had departmental meetings. Although we don't negotiate the main table, be it the wages and the health care, we do negotiate our departmentals. And when we had these meetings, we negotiated departmentals with TA Surface, MAPSTOA, and MTA Bus, because buses negotiate together for their departmentals, because obviously whatever benefits one department will benefit the others. There are a couple of specific things that MTA Bus wouldn't get or would get because they have a different structure in how they operate in their department. But those things that were represented in the contract, be it the RTIC pay, the $1 extra for shifting, bringing it to $1.50, those are things that when we had our meeting upstairs, we have a lot of other information that is not being considered into the context of the whole conversation. We know that there's an order for, let's say, 70 buses going to Grand Avenue next year that are going to be RTICs. We know that in the bus redesign, that the intention for transit is to have 3-to-1, 3 RTICs to every 1 bus. And these transit's ability to bring in RTICs, we've lost that fight years ago, right, in 2010, prior to me even getting to transit. So transit has the ability to move equipment and personnel, and transit has the right to manage. So we know that RTICs kill runs, that every 1 RTIC kills 2 employees, and every 1 RTIC or a fleet of RTICs can annihilate a whole depot's amount of runs. We saw it in Flatbush. We saw it when the B-35 came to Brooklyn. When the B-35 went to RTICs, we used to have like 100 and something runs. Now I think we're down to 67 runs. So projecting the future and what the system is going to look like in the Department of Buses, looking at a $4 increase to someone who's never driven an Arctic, right? If you're driving an Arctic, it's a $2 increase. But if you're driving a Shorty now and you end up on an articulated line because they move your line to an Arctic, you're now getting a $4 raise on top of the raise. So in the way that we saw that, we found it reasonable enough to present it to the membership to have a real conversation and let them vote on it. This was not rooted or based on, or isolated in, we got something, so let's sell everybody else out, right? Because I think that's another component that's being spread. And let's be truthfully honest. Yes, in some way it is you saying, look, I'm gonna take something because it's for me and it's there, so we're gonna take it, right? Because our department put these demands. These were departmental requests that the members requested this in our department and said they wanted it. How do we not present it to them and offer them the ability to vote to have it?
Well, let me ask you this: was there anything when you voted yes for the contract to pass it to the members? Was there anything after you voted yes, like a few days later, that came up that made you say, "Wait, hold up, I wasn't too clear about this before I voted on it, and I possibly could have made a mistake making a yes vote"?
When I think about where I would say made a mistake, I wouldn't say a mistake because there's still things that are still being laid out. I think the retiree portion is a very big portion to pay attention to, and there are so many intricacies into that. I mean, you need to be perfectly honest. I think just how that thing or that plan is governed, you need some very resounding specialists to really give you how that plays out. Because I don't even think, if it wasn't even a contract, I just think if you took your medical and had to break down how your medical is isolated and how it's broken down, it is very, very complicated. And it's not that, we don't have the ability to comprehend. I just think that there are specialties in life that require a certain set of eyes to understand it.
Well,
so to vote on it, go ahead, I'll get you.
I get that, right? So, I mean, you just explained that it's very important, right? You need probably some special people to come and explain what it is. Don't you think that should be the case when it comes to medical benefits? Because it's either you're an active employee, you're a fired employee, or you're a retiree, right? A lot of people retire from this job. So don't you think that the healthcare portion should have been explained better before any member or any section of this contract should have been explained to the T before it's passed down to you guys and then it's given to the members?
Yes, I think how information is given out and things that affect our lives is really not the right way. I think if you gave everybody a booklet, I'm talking about union-wide, right? If you gave everybody a booklet, a pamphlet that said, this is the retirees' benefits, this is how it's changing, this is how it's going to not be the same, this is how it is the same, this is, a color-coded 10-page, 20-page booklet to give everybody an opportunity to identify whether or not that makes sense or not before they voted. And from what I've been told, just to be clear, is that they're putting one out. I just want to say that.
That they what?
But they're going to put one out, that they're putting out a comparison chart.
Okay.
To highlight or to reflect what the differences are relative to the retirees. But can I say something?
Yes.
Sidebar?
Yes.
I don't want to stay off topic because I want to get to your point, right? But I do think a big component of what we're seeing right now is rooted in trust. I think that it's very difficult for people to feel warm and fuzzy about anything because there's so little trust for the union as a whole. And every department and every rep, because the trust is earned, right? And it's not something that you just drop on a doorstep and say, well, I trust you, thanks. even when you elect me, that doesn't mean you trust me. That means you trust that I'll try to do something that will earn your trust, right? It's like a leap of faith. And then everyone has a standard to live up to. And I find that a lot of times either people fall short to that standard or there's something more that the people might need. I think when you're talking about things like the retirees, I mean, I think the union is basically saying, hey, trust what we're saying. And the people have a very hard time saying, yeah, we trust you. I think when I tell you, if I tell my kids you're going to be full tonight, I don't think they have any questions, right? Mm-hmm. But if you tell someone who's retiring that when they're 65, don't worry about it, nothing's going to change. Yeah, well, what happens if it does? Then it's too late, right? But I don't know, to be clear, what you could do to make anybody trust the unknown, because the inevitable is, and as some people suggested, look, the first 2 years might be great with the new plan. I don't know in 3 years if it'll be great. In 3 years, it could go to whatever. I think the same thing could be said for Social Security. I think the same thing could be said for Medicaid. But I don't know how it benefits your life when you're 65. I do know that right now there are currently people who've been in it. The number we got was 48%. 48% of the current retirees after 65 are in plan, the two current plans that are being offered, so that they have been in that plan for the last 10 years. And that is that Medicare Advantage plan, right? And I just want to speak to how it was explained when all the questions were asked relative to how it's going to transition, how it affects the retirees, and when we went through some of the specifics. From my understanding, currently you have a CPPO, which is the traditional Medicare, and then you had option 2 and option 3, let's just call it for this conversation. So option 1, which was the CPPO, which is now being removed, from my understanding, that one was the default one. So if you didn't select option 2 or 3, you would automatically end up in option 1, which is the traditional Medicare or Medicaid, Medicare. And the other two choices, which are the Medicare Advantage plans that they say have been here for 10 years and people have enrolled in them, 48% of the retirees are currently in that plan and have been in that plan, that those are different options based on whatever specific medical issues you would have. That those offered you a less out-of-pocket initially, but how they were structured or how they've been structured, I can't give you the dynamics of those. So from what they're doing in this one is they're removing that one, the Medicare option, which is currently 80% of your benefits as a retiree after 65 are paid by the state or the government. 20% of that fund is paid by the Transit Authority. In the new model, the Transit Authority doesn't pay that 20% anymore, and that 20% is paid by the government. So now the government pays 100% instead of 80%, and Transit gets off the hook for 20% of what they were paying into that fund. Now, from my understanding, the money that Transit is not paying, I'll use a number, let's just say $20 million that they're saving, that $20 million was now put back into option 1 and made to make option 1 mirror the CPPO, the one that they removed, so that you have two choices. Only difference is that Transit is not funding it anymore. It's being funded by the state, and now the state is not running the plan. It will be administered by Aetna. So that's how it was explained, right? And again, that goes back to the whole trust factor. Do I believe that? Looking at how it's structured and understanding that, and ask a couple of people questions, is our version, right, different? Is it tailor-made in opposition to the one that is being presented in courts right now and being all these people are protesting against from the city employees because they feel that their quality of care is being compromised. And there's a lot of data. There's been lawsuits about how, all these for-profit insurance companies when it comes to Medicare Advantage, have basically overcharged the companies or overcharged the government, excuse me, and they're actually bankrupting Medicare because they're charging so much money, these exorbitant amounts of fees for treatments for people who are 65 or older, that it's putting a strain on traditional Medicare because you're dumping all these new bodies into a pool that was designed to not actually cover as many people, and that is costing the government a lot of money. I tend to believe that there's a lot more sinister ideology behind that. I tend to believe that the government themselves want to put everybody at some point into a Medicare Advantage plan and then say that Medicare can't be solvent and then ultimately try to reduce everyone's Social Security in 5 years, 10 years, and say because of all these people in Medicare Advantage, we can no longer fund it from the federal government. Now we're going to have to take that money from your Social Security instead of a retiree who gets $3,000 a month from Social Security. They might get $800, and then they would say the rest of the money would have to go towards your medical. I tend to believe that's where the United States government is intending to go. And I just don't have an answer for that. But we understand that, like, that's politics, right? Like Social Security and all of those components. Then we understand that Medicare Advantage is political, right? And we understand that our contracts are political. I remember you did a show that talked about everything in your life is politics, right? So understanding those components of it, I think we have to be honest with ourselves relative to that and how we govern our own politics to garner the things we deserve from the MTA. Because, you know, I hear a lot of fair and we deserve and what's right and wrong, but, you know.
Let me ask you one more question before I get to the other callers.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, you know, buses basically winning and every other department taking the L?
It bothers me. It bothers me like when I walk home and I see somebody who's hungry. It bothers me in the same way that, you know, I think about my brothers and sisters in the same way I do. An injury to one is an injury to all, right? But there's another component of brotherhood, right? If me and you were walking down the block and you found $100, I wouldn't say, yo, man, throw that back in the street because I didn't find it, right? I think part of us understanding how we got to where we are, there has always been a component of garnering certain resources and then building off of that to strengthen your department. And there has been times, you know, and I don't want to play it off that because it kind of makes the same argument, but there have been times when trains have gotten things that bus operators do not.
Like what?
Right?
Like what? Like what?
So we could talk about Opto, right? An extra $2 for Opto when we got a quarter for Artix. Train operators.
When did Artix?
Correct me on the.
When did Artix come?
I want to say, well, they were in Mapstoa before TA Surface, but I think they came into TA Surface around like 2010, 2011.
It's pretty new.
Right? I think Flatbush was the first depot to get them.
It's pretty new. I think that when it came to Opto for train operators, I think they was doing it for free at one time. So I think as soon as
listen, people are driving Artix for free. People drive Artix all around the country for free.
No, but we talking about New York City. We talking about New York. No, there's not. There's no other.
No, right. But I mean, when they brought Artix, the only thing we got extra for Artix was a quarter.
All right.
A quarter extra to drive an Artix.
One more question.
Right.
One more question. If you had to grade this contract outside of your department, right? I mean, more than just your department, on a 1 to 10, 10 being an excellent contract, 1 being poor. How do you felt that this contract was negotiated for the overall well-being of the union?
An excellent contract. First, I have to think about what an excellent contract would feel like. How would I feel? with an excellent contract. I would come home and I would tell my kids to put on their best clothes and let's go out and celebrate because we got an excellent contract. That's right. Guys, don't worry about anything. Go on Amazon and let's tear it up, baby. Because the world has changed. We done made it now. We done got what we deserve, right? Now, and I'm being tongue in cheek, but I'm very serious, right? Because that's the truth. I can't tell you ever in life when I felt excellent having to work for anything. To be honest with you, right? I always feel like me compromising my time, my family, my value to survive always made me feel some type of way, right? I never feel like happy about jumping up in the morning and knowing that I'm going to not get my worth just because it's a means of survival. So I think we all feel that, but to not dance around it, what is this contract? From a 1 to 10, 6.5.
That's
and I'll say it's a 6.5 because I have to say, right? Remember we spoke about this, and this goes back to the differences in the department, right? If you're a train operator, you're at top pay after how much? 1 year? Was it 250 working days?
Yeah.
Right. So a train operator gets the top pay in 1 year today. We're a bus operator 5 years, actually 6 years, excuse me, because I just spoke to a female today out of Jackie Gleason who told me she thought when she made her 5th year and so many months she'd get the top pay, and they told her no, it's 6 years.
It's after
6 years.
It's the first day of the 6th year. I've been trying to tell people that.
Right. Right. So think about that. Think about that. When she gets hired at $26 an hour to do the same job that I do. So I get paid $12 more an hour than she does in her first year. The second year she's at 28, which means it's going to take her 6 years to get to where I'm at today.
Yeah, I want to make a.
The contract means something very different to her than it would to me.
I want to make a distinction though, because I've seen that online about train operators. You know, they don't have to wait 5 years wage progression or whatever it is. But we are probably in RTO. Train operators is probably, they have the longest training than any other title in the system. You know, train operators is in training for like 10 months. You know, and
no, absolutely. And it is the one title. It is the one title in transit, right, that no one can just come in and do.
No, that's a fact.
Because of the intricacies of our system.
No, that's
right? I mean, anybody could jump in a bus. You could take a cop who, drives the bus to take people to Rikers, and he could jump in our bus and drive it. He ain't jumping in a train, and
he won't even know how to charge it. You tell people to charge up a train, they'll be looking at you like they crazy, right?
No, it's a specialty, and train operators are underpaid, and we're so far behind, I guess. And let me just add this. Can I just say this in parting?
Yes.
I do want to say this relative to givebacks, right? There's always a give back. The blow of that give back, and I just want to say this because it's true, because in the departmentals, I just want to, in the room that I sat in on behalf of the departmentals, transit would have for sure loved to give us more and discipline us more, for sure. And I'm saying this, whether you believe me or not, whether you think that's fodder, whether you call me naive, but I know for sure that the Transit Authority, as being a rep currently, as sitting with labor relations, as dealing with labor relations wants to discipline us all the time. Every case labor relations gets, they want to fire. They look at 30s and finals more now than I think they ever did, right? And Transit wanted something called 70-30, and they were willing to give up wage points for it. And that was a very, 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 very big discussion, not ones that when they escalated past the departmentals and went to the main table and they were having that conversation. Transit wanted 70-30 very, very, very bad. And I don't know what that's worth to people. To some people, they might say, I don't mind, because why are we taking a wage cut? Because Transit want to discipline people who are in the 30% of their sick time, right? And there are some people who will say, F them, right? So I think that was the component of it why I felt personally that we should present these things to the members to vote on, because there are a lot of specifics that benefit a lot of people in certain ways. And I don't want to be the guy to say yay or nay, because I get pulled in both directions. If there's one operator who wants a RTIC pay, and there's another operator who wants ABAs, and there's another operator who looks at, not giving up discipline, I think by presenting it to the members with the knowledge base that the members have now and access to information now, I think it has opened up a discussion that long term will bring us together, because I think we're unified in trying to understand and at least identifying how we feel at work, instead of everybody just being like, oh, whatever, this is just our world, it is what it is. Welcome to work. The conversation is ignited, and I think that's very valuable.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in, my brother, and explaining your part. I appreciate it.
I thank you.
I know
Have
that.
a good night,
We'll
y'all.
speak later.
And listen, if there's ever any questions, obviously I'm on Facebook. My phones are always blasting off the hook. I have been up till 4 o'clock in the morning since the contract came out, answering questions to people who are calling me, loving me, hating me, and indifferent. I just want everybody to be reminded the contract is not settled. Every member has the right to vote. No one made a decision on your behalf to sell you out. You have a choice whether you want to choose a contract or not. That is your individual right as a union member, and it's a democracy. And whatever the members choose, I have no choice but to stand with the members on behalf of whatever benefits them more. And I just think that that's where my line is always going to be, on the other side, right? I'll always be on the side of the people for whatever that's worth. But y'all have a good night, man, and thank you.
All right. We'll speak to you later.
Yeah.
That was my brother Kemp explaining his part. No, I was a little upset at him that he voted yes. I was. But, you respect people's decisions. You respect people's opinions. And you keep it pushing. Let's go to the next caller. 7800 7800. You now live on Progressive Action TV. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hello.
This is Scott calling from Station.
Scott calling from Stations.
Scott calling from Station.
What's on your mind about this contract, my brother?
It's trash. It's horrible. It was Jim Crow era economics they brought to us, and that's just the way I look at it.
What specifically you don't like about the contract?
Definitely the wages, the lying, the cutthroat with the retiree health care. People got to pay attention to that, because going forward, when we retire, we stuck with that. And then the whole paternity leave, when we could have just went to the New York State option and came out better in the long run.
Well, let me tell you something about the New York State option. You do know the New York State option, it's employee funded, which means that we would have to pay for it. Each employee would have to pay for it. It would come out of our checks for us to get that. And one thing with this maternity leave is that it is MTA funded.
Yeah, I definitely get that. I get that we would have to pay for it. But, for people that, family members get sick, I just been through that this past year. It would have gave me more time to spend with my loved one before they passed away. So, and I also don't think that everything needs to be tied to the MTA, because they corrupt.
I agree.
They run around acting like they the slave master, and the union running around acting like they the in-house slave.
So this contract is a definite no for you.
Oh, definitely no. Being a CTA getting $1 a year, CTA's $1 a year. Especially after everything that we came through from the pandemic, being out there, having no time off whatsoever. No, that was just definitely a slap in the face. I mean, because I look at it like this. You got Mississippi bringing back Jim Crow laws, and you got New York, MTA, and the union bringing back Jim Crow contracts to us. And, with everything going on, they finding money for everything else. They finding money. $1 billion is in the budget for the immigrants. We're spending $5 million a day, but you didn't think about us that survived the pandemic, that still have to live here, that contribute actually something to the city and state. You said, well, we ain't got nothing for you. Here's $3.
I agree, bro. I agree 100%. Well, anything else you want to say?
Nah, that's it. I'm tired of the slavery tactics. But that's exactly what it comes down to. Our union literally went to the MTA like slave master and came out to we out in the field and said, hey, this is what master want to give you. You want this? This is master said this is the best he got. And that's a little unacceptable. Especially when, still quiet on his hazard pay. Where that money at?
We ain't getting that, bro.
Because it's $75,000 that we owe.
We not getting that.
And that's a big peeve right now for me.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to let it go.
I agree.
I think that's something that we need to hold over their head forever. Where's that money at? You found $1 billion. And then last year it was $650 million for the Buffalo Bills Stadium that you can only use a couple of times out the year. No, where's that money at? Give us our money. Give us a decent contract. Give us livable wages. This union has. I don't even know what to say about this administration.
I agree.
You got people in my department. They quick to tell you about the title that they used to represent, that they supposed to represent all, and it's laughable. It's actually laughable.
I agree with you, my brother. Thanks for calling in, man, and giving your opinion.
Definitely.
All right. That was Scott from Stations. Listen, contract talks. Are you voting yes or no? Call in live right now, 563-999-3714. Let's get to the next caller. Caller 6483. You now live on Progressive Action TV. What's your name? Where you calling from?
It's Garcia calling from buses.
Garcia calling from buses. TA or OA or MTA bus?
OA. I'm calling from OA.
All right, let me hear how you feel about the contract.
I don't agree. It for me is a real bad contract. It ignores the fact that we've been through COVID for 3 years, and we brung all my kids were quarantined at home. My wife was quarantined at home, and I still had to go out there and expose myself with the COVID. And guess what? I still brought it home. So where did it come from? They weren't going out. They were at home quarantined. And I was doing the food shopping. I was the one doing everything. And it was like, okay, I went to BJ's and they said, oh, you're not allowed. You're not only for first responders, right? And I was like, okay, that's an insult, the early shopping for first responders. Then they fought it and they said, oh, we made a mistake because it's against New York State law. And you're supposed to have, you are considered emergency responders according to New York State law. But however, when it's time to get paid or to make what we make, a lot of people say, oh, buses makes a lot of money, but we have to work so many hours, 80, 90 hours a week. And a lot of guys have retired after COVID. So how much money is the MTA saving from all those guys retiring, and they're off of payroll, and now they're paying the same person half of what they're paying us. So they saved a lot of money. They hired 2,000 new people because they want to undercut our overtime, and they don't want us to work as much and make as much money. So then that was our reward from COVID. I don't mean to be upset. Yes.
You should be upset, but let me ask you a question.
It sounds like I'm upset.
You should be upset. You should be upset. There's nothing wrong with being upset. Would you benefit from driving the Arctic bus?
Listen. It's crap. It's like everyone's saying, "Oh, buses got this." You driving an Arctic bus. However, you have double the passengers. They're bad on your knees, bad on your back, bad on your shoulders, And a lot of older guys, the veterans, do not want to drive them because they know that you're more prone to injury. Also, you're driving double the amount of people. It's harder to watch all doors opening, because you're driving a 60-foot bus as opposed to a 40-foot bus. So you have double the passengers, triple the people, but guess what? You're still responsible for anything that happens on that bus. Any safety incident, anyone falling down, anyone getting attacked, you're supposed to be watching. And then on top of that, they're allowing e-bikes on the buses now. They allow people don't pay. They get on through any door. And when they don't let them on the train, they get on the bus. When the police are standing in the turnstiles and they're not letting nobody in, guess where they go? To the buses. And that's the main thing. There's no benefit in driving an Arctic. You're not getting run pay. You're only getting vehicle time. What they call vehicle time is only the time you're driving. Any breaks, you're not getting the extra $4. When you take a day off and let's say you take a holiday, you don't get the Arctic pay. When the time, that full hour, let's say that you're supposed to be driving, if you have a shorter route, then you get cut time. You're not getting paid the full amount. And the worst part about it is the heavy customer load. And they promised us, they said that they weren't going to cut, once they turned the line Arctic, they weren't going to cut runs. But guess what they did?
Cut runs.
They cut runs. They cut 15 runs, 15 less buses. So now you're like, okay, the bus is supposed to come every 15 minutes. Now the bus comes every 25 minutes. Is it the same amount of people? No, because you're picking up more people. And now people are more upset because they're waiting longer for the buses and they're angry. And then they're not paying on top of that because there's no type of security, no type of enforcement, no type of control. And then on top of that, they said, okay, we're also not only are we going to allow e-bikes and scooters on the buses, but now we're also going to allow strollers. But don't worry, because you're going to have one slot on the bus that people could bring their strollers into, right? But you're supposed to watch and regulate that people put it in the slot and they stand by their stroller. But what happens when there's 4, 5, 6 strollers? There's a walker. How are people supposed to get through the bus through the crowd of people?
Mm-hmm.
So now they cut all these runs. Now you're working harder, and you pretty much not getting the recovery time that you usually would get in the end of the line. Because with the Bronx redesign, even though they deny that they cut time, they did cut our time to get from point A to point B. So if they took 10, 15 minutes off, that's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
And then also in our swing, they also took time off, even though they claimed they didn't, but they did take time off.
How long have you been a bus operator for?
We basically have to, just to get, yeah.
How long you been a bus operator for?
About 5.5 years.
Okay.
5.5 years.
Got you. Okay.
But I've worked in other city jobs, and I've been around. I've been in 3 different unions, and it's usually the same story. There's certain groups of people, and they run the show, and the workers we're just there. We're doing the work, and we're just like following orders.
So do you have do you have any faith in this union administration?
No, because if you saying that, we voted yes because we wanted to present it to the members, it's an insult for you to say yes, let's present it to the members, if it has so many hidden facets and so many give backs, and then claim that there's no give backs and lie to our faces as if we're not more intelligent than that. It's just an insult for you to justify yourself and say I voted yes just because we were looking out for you. They would have said, listen, assault up. Safety is a number one concern for our members. They didn't have PPE. They weren't protected during COVID. Let's protect them. Let's do something for their safety. Then you could say, okay, you know what? They stepped up the safety. Then we could say, you know what? They stepped up the safety, and they're gonna guarantee us to have a right to to be safe. Then we could say, you know what? We're getting a little bit of money, but at least we're safe. But now we're getting a little bit of money, and we're getting no guarantees that we're going to be safe. So how can you present this to people and say this is the best we could do? If they were our lawyers, we would fire them.
Facts.
Because it's like you're like, I could have done that on my own. There was no effort as far as, okay, there was effort as far as them sitting down and talking to them, but we already knew a year ago that they were going to cry poverty. We knew 2 years ago they were already going to cry poverty. But even after they got all the money from COVID relief, they got money from the feds, they got money from the state, and they keep spending money, but without asking the workers for any input or any type of, they're saying, oh yeah, don't worry, the union speaks for you. So we're going to ask them for input. But the union doesn't always speak for us.
Mm-hmm. They speak
so most of the time we have to speak for ourselves.
They speak for management.
And yeah, exactly. And sometimes we're the ones that have to defend ourselves even out on the road, because in the end of the day, we're on our own. When we're out there, we don't have backup. We're by ourselves, and that's why a lot of veterans decided to retire. They were gone. They said after COVID, they said, you know what, I've had enough. I'm gone. And now they hired a lot of new people. They're still getting along. I mean, I don't have nothing to say bad about them, but they still have to get used to what they're experiencing. And like they say, a lot of them are not sticking around, and a lot of them are sticking around because they have no choice but to stick around. Or they feel like they have no choice to stick around. It's not an easy job. People say, oh, it's easy to operate a bus. It's not. You have to go through training, but not as much as the trains do, because since you're trained, you're pretty much put out there, sink or swim. You survive or you don't survive. That's how you were trained as bus operators. So a lot of times, a lot of the older guys and the veterans say, you know what, just keep your mouth quiet. Don't speak up, because we already know how things work. So just take whatever they give you and just keep it moving. Because, like they said before, we've seen every time there's a contract fight, there's casualties. We lose people. But where was the fight? I didn't see any fight, I didn't see any fight. They just said, we don't want to offend anyone. We're going to tiptoe around, and we're going to go negotiate the table, but we're not going to get anyone upset with us. And that's the most disappointing part. That we pay our dues no matter what. It comes out of our check. Our dues they never stop coming out.
My brother, you said you hit a few home runs with your speech just now, and that's pretty much the sentiment that I've been getting, behind the scenes, as far as there was no fight. And like you said, they was tiptoeing around. They didn't want to make management angry. They didn't want to make the big bad wolf angry.
Yeah.
And, there wasn't no blood on the ground. Like, if we would have seen them fight and they came back with this, we'd have been like, all right, they did fight. They did try. But they didn't even get a wrinkle in their suit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't even get a wrinkle in their suit.
No. That's the whole problem. That we got ourselves dirty. People are getting fired, terminated every day. People are getting suspended every day. People are getting, people with families are having problems, getting stressed, having all type of medical issues, and because they say it's not the job, but I mean it's just a coincidence that we all happen to have all the same medical issues after a few years on the job. It's not a coincidence, and then we leave our blood and our sweat every day and give it our best, because every day has to be a perfect day. Every day has to be a good day. Once you have an incident, you have a problem in your hands. Once something happens, even if it's outside of the control of your hands, it's your problem.
Yeah. Well, bro, listen, you said a lot.
Yes.
You said a lot of profound things. I'm glad that you called in. Yo, thanks for calling in, man. And I hope to hear from you soon during the next call-in show. And please share out this please share out this live and tell your put it to your part. I want your coworkers to hear you speak, because you said a lot of great things.
Not just coworkers. I think you should share it with your family, your friends, everyone, so everyone could know, listen, this is what's going on, and this is how it is. So, at least everyone knows, the reality. So when they see, why is this guy upset? They think, oh, this guy's upset all the time, or he tries his best to be jolly, but it's not as easy as people think it is, Yeah.
Well,
they all need to know. So everyone needs to share it and let the stories be known, not be scared, and not hide, not be scared.
I agree. Thanks for calling in, bro.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. No problem. Thank you. Have a good day.
He said a lot of great things, man. He said a lot of great things, and that's the problem. See, they think that we are stupid. They think that they can outmaneuver and outfool us and make us think that they was fighting. I never had a conversation. I don't even know who he is, right? But the same conversation that he's having about they didn't fight and they was tiptoeing around, they didn't want to make people angry. That's the same sentiment in buses and TA Surface. That's the same sentiment in RTO. That's the same sentiment in stations. We are not stupid. We know what war looks like. We know what battle looks like. The union didn't do none of the above. They tiptoed around. They did not want to make the MTA angry. They didn't want to have any mass membership meetings. They didn't want to fight. And this is not the contract that shows that they put up a fight. Let's get to the next caller. Caller 0091, you now live on Progressive Action TV. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Tawana Jordan, Brooklyn, and I'm from Station.
What's going on, Tawana? How you doing?
I'm good. This contract sucks. I'm voting no. They're trying to put member against member, parent against young women, older women against younger women. Some people will vote because it has ABA therapy. Some people will vote because they're childbearing ages. I don't think anybody is thinking about the whole picture, right? We all deserve something. Some departments shouldn't get more than others, and I'm not mad that buses is getting more in pay. But what is RTO getting? What is stations getting? We all should be worried about each other. Ruben has ABA therapy. My son could benefit from it. My problem is it just says new ABA therapy. It doesn't say if it's a lifetime benefit. It doesn't say if it's a weekly benefit. It doesn't say if it's a certain amount of hours. It doesn't really give you much. You can get 10 hours a week from the DOE minimum. So if you're giving me ABA therapy, that means I can get it at home to teach my son behaviors that are bad for him and increase the good behaviors, which takes time for a child that has autism. So you learn behaviors are easy learned for them, but they're hard to unlearn. So if you say you're giving me 50 hours a year, that's 5 weeks. What is that going to do for an autistic child that doesn't learn at a rate as any other child does? You're telling me you're giving me 50 hours for a year. Who is determining it? It may not even be worth what's written on the paper.
See, this is very important.
WDD and get a budget of $100,000, right? Mm-hmm. For my same child, which I do, from OPWDD, right? Mm-hmm. They give you it doesn't go according to the parent's income. And if you don't need much, you can use all of that for ABA therapy, which may be even more beneficial than what transit is offering, because they're not even telling us what they're offering. Most insurance don't offer ABA therapy because it's experimental. It's not proven to be a medical necessity or have been proven to make great significant changes in behavior with children with autism. And this is why a lot of insurances don't cover it. With that being said, it's about $300 an hour. You think Transit Authority is going to give you $300 an hour at 10 hours a week for the lifetime? Having autism is a lifetime disability. A child may need ABA therapy until adulthood. Are they going to give me that or someone else who may need it? There's no detail, but it's very detailed about maternity leave. And even though I'm not of childbearing age, I think that's great. I think 12 weeks is great, but in addition to paid family leave, not in replace of.
Facts, and that's what they did.
They replaced it with, because at any given time there'll be less men and women having babies than men and women needing to be out for a family member or for a child or a parent or a sick loved one or someone go overseas, which means that the union doesn't share in the gain sharing for employee availability.
Exactly.
That's a loss.
Exactly.
We never even got it implemented.
Exactly.
That they want to take it away.
Exactly. Now that's
the problem with me, and I can't even have babies.
Now I want to bring that up. When you first came on, you said that the contract is putting young women and older women against each other. Can you explain that?
Okay, so let's say I'm in my 20s or 30s, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to vote for it because I may want to start a family or I might be pregnant. I have an autistic child. I might vote for it even though I hate everything else because I'm getting ABA therapy that I don't even know what it entails, right? I'm a bus driver, right? And I like driving the Arctic bus. I'm getting $2 more an hour than I was. Do you get where I'm coming from? Yeah. All at the expense of giving up paid FMLA, giving up touching our retirees' medical is a no-no. See, the older people or people that's near retirement, I have 4.5 years till I'm 55, right? So medical is important to me, right? Retiree medical is important to me. But so is maternity leave, even though I can't have children anymore, right? And this is the way we need to start thinking. We need to think about our brother and our sister. They're trying to make our medical equivalent to like Medicaid. My grandchildren have Medicaid. My grandson has really bad eczema, right? The cream wasn't working for his skin. He needed a shot that he has to take every 2 weeks, and it's $4,000 a month, right? Mm-hmm. Medicaid denied it 6 times. The doctor had to fight it 6 times. When you have someone else determine on your medical necessity, it's hell. So why do we want to work here for 25, 30, 35 years, and then our medical, when we retire, be equivalent to somebody that has Medicaid? That's asinine.
Let me ask you a question regarding.
They're not going to tell you that.
Let me ask you a question regarding the ABA therapy. What would be sufficient that would make you happy with the union negotiated? Because you said that 50 hours, maybe 5 weeks. That's not really nothing. What would be sufficient for you and your family that you would say that the ABA therapy is good, that the union negotiated?
Minimum 10 hours a week. Minimum. That way your child gets 10 from school, right? 10 from at home. Ruben, you figure there's about 46 weeks in a year that he goes to school because he has a 12-month program. So that means 40, and you take out this, there's 2 weeks in the summer he don't go. There's the week when they have out 3 times a year. You take about Christmas. So there might be about 7 weeks where he don't go. There's 52 weeks in a year. So let's say 45 weeks. I can get 45 weeks at 10 hours, the minimum. And if I go to a school, if I put him in a school that's ABA, that's for autistic children, you get more, right? Or if I take them for impartial hearing, I can get more. Or if he goes to a school union, then you don't. But they would have to give me 10 hours of ABA therapy, keep FMLA, give the women 12 weeks maternity leave, don't mess with the retirees medical, and give us some goddamn more money. And that bonus is crazy. I'd rather it to be 0.5% or 1% than to be a bonus, because that means every time I get a raise, that money keeps growing.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably going to be taxed as supplemental income, which means you're going to get 50% if you take it and don't roll it over. That's a slap in the face.
Mm-hmm.
I probably pay at my mortgage cheaper than all my friends paying rent, right? So I'm comfortable, right? I can afford my mortgage whether I get a raise or not. I just rented out my rental, and it's probably $1,000 more than what my mortgage is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean that I want to accept that crap. It's crap. So if you give me 10 hours a week, the minimum, keep paid FMLA, give my sisters and brothers more maternity leave, freaking don't mess with the retirees medical, and give us some more cash, I'll vote for it. But if you give me 10 hours a week and none of the rest, I still would vote no, because it would hurt us. It hurts us all as a whole. And most people say we get less because we're black, and Long Island Railroad and Metro North get more because they're white. No, they're not going to let the engineer's not going to let you throw the cleaner under the bus. That's why. They stick up for each other.
I mean, they also have different. They also.
So if I like a piece.
They also have different
have
unions
a stronger
too.
union, and they don't have the Taylor law, and I do understand that. But it's not 7 different departments here, and I think that's what's wrong. I mean, it is 7 different departments, but we're still one union, and we're operating and negotiating as if we're separate. We're a separate entity. We're not. We're all one.
Mm-hmm.
And if a contract hurts you, then it hurts me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people.
And until we start thinking like that, they're always going to give perks that somebody will vote on, and then perks somewhere else that another, so that they can get the contract passed. But if we all stand together and say this is not enough, I could benefit for some ABA therapy. But if I don't get it from transit, OPWDD will give it to me. And I'll tell everybody, it doesn't matter what your income is. If your child is autistic, you can get a Medicaid waiver and get in OPWDD too, and get way more ABA therapy than the DOE at home provides for you.
I hope the people paying attention.
So even though my son is autistic, I know the value of what I need for him,
mm-hmm.
and what I need for my family, and what other people need for theirs. And if it's not, then send it back. Send it back. But this is what the union is banking on. Buses will vote on it because of audit pay. People with autistic children will vote on it because they want the ABA therapy because it's expensive, and I can tell you how to get it without getting it from transit. Younger women that are childbearing age is going to vote on the maternity leave because they want to be able to be home with their children, and everybody is forgetting about everybody else or the retirees because they don't get a vote. But you got to remember that we're going to retire one day, and medical could bankrupt you. So no, if they gave me everything else I named except for messing with the retirees medical, I would say no, because one day I'm going to be in that position, and I can lose my house if I don't have good medical.
That's a fact.
If I need medical from the state. And this is what most people don't realize it. When you're looking at it, the first glance, I said, okay. I was telling Janelle Chisholm, I said, okay, doesn't look that bad, but I need to see the MOU. Because I can't say yay or nay until I see the MOU. And once I saw the MOU, I said no.
Well, thanks for calling in. I'm glad that you educated us about the the autism part of this contract. And I think sometime in the future, I want to have more conversation with you, specifically talking about, working in the MTA with an autistic child and the health insurance and go through a lot of this other stuff that you was talking about that, transit members could benefit from. All right.
Okay.
All right. So we'll
Have a good day.
speak later. Thanks for calling.
Okay. Bye-bye.
See, we got a lot of people that know about a lot of things here. And I'm gonna be the first to tell you, I'm not familiar with everything. I don't have an autistic child. I don't have no autistic family members where I could see the trials and tribulations of this situation. So when people call in with this type of information, I like to use my platform to get this information out there so it can educate us all. And I am gonna sometime, I don't know when, but I'm gonna do a show with her talking about this whole situation and the resources that she have and so she can spread the information and the knowledge. That was Tawana Jordan from Stations. Let's go to the next caller. And before I go to the next caller, contract talks. Are you voting yes or no? Call in live right now. 563-999-3714. Caller 9888. You're on Progressive Action TV. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, how you doing, Jamel? My name is Sean. I'm a station agent. I'm calling from Brooklyn, New York. I just want to, first and foremost, I want to say I love the work you do. You put out a lot of information to the members. I want to say I'm going to vote no on this contract.
Wait, hold on. Before you get into that, I want to tell you thank you. Thank you for the compliment. I'm glad that you appreciate the work. Now let me know how you feel about the contract and how you will be voting.
Well, I feel this contract, it looks good on paper, but at the same time, I'm gonna vote no because they could do better. I understand economics. I understand how money works. I understand how all this goes down, but at the same time, it's our demands haven't been met. Stations, RTO, is really good what buses got. Buses got really good, but the union could do much better, and we as transit workers have to work together. We have to stop being selfish. Everyone has to come. We all have to work together. We all have to settle our differences out. And it's time. We have to stop comparing ourselves to Long Island Railroad, Metro North. All right? Long Island Railroad, Metro North, those are railroads. It's a difference. All right? New York City Transit, especially subways, we're rapid transit. So they're going to classify us differently. Is it a race thing? Historically, always been a race thing. All right? 48% of New York City Transit is black. About maybe 20, 30% of Long Island Railroad, Metro North is black. We know it's going to be a race thing. But it's also a numbers thing. Look, it's 50,000 transit workers. It's about maybe 15,000 Long Island Railroad, Metro North. So economically, they could always give them a better contract. All right? It's 1,300 conductors in the Long Island Railroad. New York City Transit have 3,000. So you do the numbers. Same thing with train operators. 3,500 train operators in New York City Transit. Long Island Railroad is 500 train engineers. Metro North is 450.
Yeah,
Metro
but
North has 900 conductors.
yeah,
Okay?
but let me stop you right there for a second. We bring in 10 times the amount of money that they bring in, right? So what they make for their workforce is equivalent to what we make for our workforce. So like, there's no real I get what you're saying about, they got this amount of conductors and they make this amount of money, but we make enough money to pay us. New York City Transit make enough money to pay us exactly what what Long Island Railroad and Metro North, what they get. That they get way more money than Metro North and Long Island Railroad to cover New York City Transit. In fact, with New York City Transit budget, you don't need a separate budget for Long Island Railroad or Metro North. It could cover everything. It's just that the MTA, they got a fetish for blowing money. They got a fetish for misappropriating funds. They spent $30 million on some steps. $30 million. That's a wage point for us. right? So they have enough money, and we did a story on this maybe 2016, 2017. We did a story on the Long Island Railroad budget, Metro North budget, and New York City Transit budget. And what we found is exactly what I'm telling you right now. But yeah, you continue.
You're right. You correct in a lot of ways. See, the way how Metro North and Long Island Railroad, the way how they're funded is through bridges and tunnels. So that's how they're funded. They funded by those tolls, and they funded by the tickets. And then I believe it's regional tax. That's how they're funded. And of course, New York City Transit, we're funded by fares and by also city tax and state tax. And you're absolutely right. $30 million for stairs in Times Square. That was a waste of money. That could have went to a lot of better things. I mean, a lot of these stations, a lot of these crew rooms need to be renovated. A lot of facility rooms, bathrooms, you name it. You're a transit worker, so you see exactly what the rest of us see. And that's the whole thing. See, if we was under a city agency, it would probably be a little different because they would have to appoint a commissioner, and we would have to be a department of the city. So being that we're technically a state agency and also a public benefit corporation, they operate differently. See, like transit, technically New York City Transit is government. Like MTA Bus is a private company in the MTA. So I mean, I know I'm going off topic.
No. You,
it's kind of
listen. I want you to explain this because you are giving some valuable information right now. So give the information.
Yeah. So New York City Transit. See, when we go for New York City Transit, we take the civil services in. All right. When New York City Transit was first created, it was created in 1953. All right. I think it was Mayor LaGuardia. Like back then, they wanted this to be like the reason why part of the reason why New York City Transit is bad because it's very bureaucratic. We take a civil service in to take the job. All right, and that has to do with New York City Transit was first created. So that's why I was saying like it would make more sense for us to be aligned with city government because you take a civil service test. Like up until 2012 or 2013, that's when the MTA decided to give their own exams. DCAS still has to establish the list, but they pretty much MTA they can do what they want, but it's up to DCAS have to establish a list. They have to certify the list. But going back to what I was saying was that technically we're New York City Transit, we're from New York City Transit, technically government workers. And MTA Bus, when it was formed, they was created in 2004 for all the private bus lines like Jamaica, Tri-Borough, Green Lines. So technically, the way how they operate, they more private than anything. See, we always want to say this is a company. New York City Transit really isn't a company. We're more of a government agency than anything. And it's a lot of things that they have to follow. That because it's okay, like the disciplinary process, right? We have the right to due process. So if they want to terminate someone, it takes time for them to terminate someone. It's not like MTA Bus or MapStore where it's a little bit easy for them to get fired. I was watching one of your previous videos. It was like if it's a layoff, MTA Bus and MapStore is going to be the first ones because they don't have civil service protection.
Mm-hmm.
So with us, it's a little bit difficult. Like, okay, I give the example, station agent. Like technically CTAs are not in car cleaners. They're not civil service.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All right. Station agents, we are civil service. Years ago they were, and then Giuliani changed it because he wanted people to get off welfare. So he's like, okay, you know what? This is what we'll do. We'll start a program so people can get into transit so they can get off welfare. He did the same thing with school safety. That's why he put school safety on the NYPD because he wanted single mothers to get off welfare and work. So because he wanted more people to pay into the tax system. So as far as transit goes, like yeah, technically, as far as transit goes, like we're technically government workers. They have to follow the tell law too. Like technically, really, MTA Bus should be able to strike because they're not. I don't know how is it they would put on the tell law. Technically, they could strike. Now, Long Island Railroad Metro North is different because the federal government, so they're on the FRA, which is the Federal Railroad Administration. So when they contract, let's say they feel that they don't get a good enough contract, or you saw it back in like it was 2014 or 2017, they was gonna go on strike. So they always make sure, like, okay, you know what, let's just give them what they want.
You know, you listen.
So like with us, I mean,
you giving the information that when I'm brainstorming with my team, with my think tank, you know, this is the conversations that we have. So when we get off the phone, I'm gonna need you to hit me up behind the scenes just so I can have your contact, so we could bounce ideas, because this conversation that you having, it may be over a lot of people's heads, but it's very important. You know what I'm saying that, you know, basically, if you're not civil service, you could, I think, like you said, MTA bus could go on strike. And I think that when they did go on strike that one time in 2005, I think the private line school buses or something like that went on strike because they don't fall under the Taylor law. And our union administration,
technically they don't.
Yeah, our union administration don't use those tactics to fight back. You know what I'm saying? So, but you were saying that you will vote no for the contract. For sure.
Right, I will vote no because I feel that our demands, especially in subways, and I'm speaking as a station agent and stations, because I felt that like right now we're kind of really fighting for our job. I'm not saying station agents, because it's station agents, CTAs. Like we never get our demands met. Like Robbie Kelly, I feel he's very biased. Like he was a cleaner, and he's very biased against station agents. And a lot of us as station agents, and I don't mean to be biased, I'm just getting my perspective out there, because a lot of times I think people have station agents wrong. Like what people fail to realize down here, like in all titles, you got workers who are rude, who are lazy, who just don't want to do what they're supposed to. So I mean, I'm speaking as a station agent. I know I'm going off topic. I don't mean to go off topic, but my thing is that I felt our demands haven't been met. Like our biggest demands was uniforms, but there's other things that's going on that need to be addressed, mainly the safety aspect.
I agree. Well,
and,
look,
as far as RTO, RTO gets screwed a lot too.
that's a fact. That is a fact. Well, look, my brother.
And same thing with MOW.
My brother,
Mhm.
I say you
I'm
said
sorry.
you said a lot of
Yeah.
important stuff, but we gotta transition. I want you to send me your information.
Yeah, definitely.
Send me your information so we could continue these conversations behind the scenes, and I would like to invite you to one of our meetings, so you know we could continue to keep each other sharp. You gave a lot of great information, but this is strategic information that you're giving, and the union reps need to hear this. They need to hear what you have to say. But I think that we have to prepare for a better future, and we have to enlighten each other and enlighten the masses. I don't think the union reps is interested in this information because they don't even try to use it or apply it in any form or fashion. But thanks for calling in. I appreciate your perspective, and don't forget to hit me up behind the scenes.
Anytime.
Thanks, my brother.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we heard all these different perspectives. Damn, we almost at 3 hours, and my leg can't take no more. My leg cannot take no more. I got this brace on my leg. I can't move it. It's actually, I wish I could show with my phone what's going on. I mean, I wish I could show it with the camera what's going on, but I can't even stand up. I have to take it off before I do. But I really hope that this show was helpful for you guys. What we have to do, we have to continue to share out this information. People gave a lot of interesting perspectives here. I didn't have one why anyone will vote yes. Every union rep who has made a video is lying to the members. Every union rep that you've seen, every person you've seen saying yes to this contract is a released rep, right? So they have to show the administration, hey, I deserve my spot. Let me go out there, and I know that this contract isn't right, but let me go out there and fool the members because it's not about the members. It's about me keeping my release time. It's about me being in good favor with the people who control my release time. I don't care about if I don't care about the members. I don't care about the members. I only care about my release time. Because let me tell you something. If they cared about the members, why are they making all these pre-recorded videos? Why aren't they doing live call-in sessions like this? If little old Tremel Thompson is capable of creating a program where members could call in live, where members can ask any type of question, this is what democracy looks like. When Alexander Kemp was talking about, well, they don't trust, they have trust issues with the administration. You want to know why they have trust issues with the administration? It's because the administration don't do democratic things. When it's time for a mass membership meeting, they don't provide an open mic. When it's time for answers at union meetings, they don't become truthful. They don't provide platforms like this. How can you build trust when at every turn their goal is to short the members? Their goal is to short the members. You cannot build trust when you continuously shorten the members. When the brother called from 08, right? And he was like, you know, they didn't fight for us. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. The union think that they could do these little satellite rallies and try to disguise it as fight. The members are not stupid. And that's a smack in our faces because they operate as if they are stupid, as thinking that we are stupid. But we are not stupid. And I hope that they watching these lives and seeing that we are not stupid. And Richie Davis, you got to pay attention here, man. Because if that vote is high for a no vote for this contract, every no vote for this contract is a no vote for you for the union election. And Lord have mercy, if the no vote overwhelmed the yes vote, this contract, for a fact you won't be elected in next election. That is a fact. But this no vote is going to say a lot about your next election because y'all going to play the ballot games. Y'all, like Kemp said, there's trust issues here. They go think that y'all cheated. There's going to be problems next election for you. In fact, I have never seen a pushback against the contract ever like this. I have never seen members so against the contract. I have never seen people so vocal about speaking out against the contract. I'm looking at the Local 100 social media. There's so many negative comments about people voting no about the contract. You guys are getting a lot of pushback. That's why you got your reps out there doing all these live videos because they're not doing it on their own. They're not doing it on their own because the people that's doing these live videos don't even like to be live, don't even like to make videos. So I already know that they were asked to do this, right? So you're asking people to go out there and to lie, and then when I see the lie, I catch it, I make a video, and it's not a good feeling to be on social media on a big platform such as Progressive Action and being shown that you're a liar. Like, that's not a good feeling. And to the reps that's out there doing these videos, be your own man, be your own woman. Is release time that important to you that you feel? Yeah, I know why I'm saying that. Release time is a drug. You know, these people, you would think that they got hired to do union work because they fight like hell for their release spots, but they don't fight like hell to protect the membership. If they was about protecting the members, they would not be out here selling a contract. You have reps out there deliberately lying to members and saying that this contract is something that it's not. And like I said, it's either they are deliberately lying or they not reading to comprehend or comprehend to read, whichever way it go. They are not doing it. Their reading comprehension skills is very low. So when you get sold out in your department, look at Matt Ahern. the division chair of CED. He totally chopped and screwed the contract and put stuff in there that wasn't even there and was interpreting things that you could read it yourself and say, nah, this guy got to be crazy. This guy got to be crazy. But I need you guys, like I said, I need you guys. Yo, shout out to the people on YouTube, man. Like YouTube was holding some. YouTube got more. 56 people watching on YouTube right now and 57 people watching on Facebook. I mean, YouTube, y'all, I'm proud of y'all, man. Y'all taking the challenge to YouTube. Facebook, I need my Facebook people to step up, but I definitely need you guys to donate to the platform. You see the Cash App at the top of the screen, $ Progressive Action 100. Hit up the Cash App. Support who supports you. We're going to continue to grow as a channel. We're going to continue to get bigger. Like and subscribe. If you're watching live right now, hit the like button. If you're watching live right now, if you're watching on Facebook right now, tap the like button. That's how we get more notifications to get people to watch the show. If you're watching on Facebook right now, hit the like button. Like it. Like the platform. Share it out. Right? If you're watching on Twitter, retweet it every day. You know what I'm saying? We got to get people involved. We got to continue to give out the information. This is the only channel that give out consistent information for the past 8 years. The only channel. And we need support. So please make sure that you donate to the Cash App, $ Progressive Action 100. If you don't want to donate via Cash App, you could contact me and I'll give you another way to donate. And if you're watching on YouTube, super chat, whichever way it may be, to donate, to subscribe, or whatever the case may be. Oh, and if you're watching on Facebook, you also can subscribe to the channel. I think it's like $3.99 or $4.99 a month. Subscribe to the channel. That's light money. That's light. But definitely support the platform. I will be going live again with live callers again next week, next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we will be doing live callers again, right? So be prepared, probably around 5 p.m. the same time, but make sure that you're tuned in. Let's continue these conversations and let's continue to fight. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.